Hello and welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. It is April. The games are flying. And we are here ready to discuss what's new and what's news.
Yeah.
Joined by Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
Michael Damiani.
Yo.
Don Casanova.
Yo, indeed.
Gabby Montoot. Hello. And Isla is still just a little under the weather.
No, she's had other things on her schedule. We're shooting early,
okay.
So she's not under the weather today.
Okay, good. She's feeling better.
Yeah.
Good.
But there's a little note highlighted there that you didn't pick up on.
If you're watching us live,
Nope.
no.
Nope, but know that.
One more.
He's not looking at the rundown at all.
What
He's
are
just
you
waiting.
talking about, dude? What?
Black
Where?
tar will get you.
What do you want me to
The
read?
highlighted thing right under introduce panel.
Oh, of course. It was Gabby's birthday yesterday. I was going to get to it. Come on now. Jump in the gun, blood. I'm up here. You're like down here.
No, you said the thing underneath it already.
Happy birthday week, Gabby. How's it feel?
21.
Gabby's 21 again.
Hell yeah. I got a question before we start the panel.
Oh.
In honor of Gabby's birthday. Gabby, you can go first or last. It's your call. We're going to go around really fast, lightning round. You get to pick one thing that the Predator fights. Who is it? Who do you want the Predator to fight?
I don't know why this came up. Just like a guy in an excavator for some reason.
A guy in an excavator. Okay, a little aliens crossover there. I like it. Damiani?
I'm going to go with a pack of velociraptors led by Blue from Jurassic Park. World.
Predator versus dinos, Gabby. That's pretty good. All right, Don?
It's going to be tough to top. I'm going to say Jedi Ghostface Killer. Yeah, a lightsaber.
We have a winner.
So the Ghostface Killer as a Jedi versus Predator.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying Na'vi.
Pander. Full pander. Full circle.
Holy shit.
Jake
Natiri
Sully.
versus Predator. I fucking need it right now. All right. I can't top that, so I'm not going. I'll say Predator versus Roman Reigns. Hell yeah.
Can I revise mine real quick?
Yeah, yes.
Predator versus the crew of Fast and Furious led by Vin Diesel and The Rock.
They have
to outrun the Predator.
It's Fast Cross Predator.
Yes.
I love it,
Popped in my
dude.
head. I was like, that's pretty good. I
Dude,
want
Vin
that
Diesel is
instead.
like hitting the nitrous, like driving, and the Predator is like running down the car, dude.
Dude, the Predator gets like nitrous like boosters. It's like a jetpack and it starts like flying at them. Like.
All right. Thank you for humoring me, everybody. We love it. We love fun. And this week's topics are fun. We are talking about Bungie's return. Not only their return to a new game, but a return to a franchise that they had previously worked on. Marathon is coming back.
Yeah.
We got a lot more details on Marathon this week. Also, the biggest of the big. Like, the biggest game of all time. Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Mario Kart World. They had a direct. We're going to be diving into all those details.
Yeah. Some new little tidbits here and there.
Yeah. I have been playing a very, very nice, fun, good game, Mandragora. We're going to be talking about that. And then Damiani's been playing Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah.
Tar.
Hell yeah. And then also Bloodworth did an interview with Henk Rogers,
Heck yeah.
who went into the Soviet Union to get the Game Boy rights to Tetris. Introduced RPGs to Japan and has many more stories to tell. Badass. So yeah, we're going to be rolling that in. Should we get into it?
Yeah.
Let's dive right in. Marathon. Marathon is back. It is coming in September. I would like your thoughts, Daniel Bloodworth. I'm going to throw it straight to you, dude.
Yeah, this is it's very interesting because well, for one, just so everyone knows, like I really know nothing about Marathon. Like
I played as a kid, but that doesn't mean I know a lot.
Yeah.
I played
Yeah, I don't really know
I played
about it.
on my friend's computer that was in his closet. Like, yeah.
Right. But I watched this whole thing because, like you said, it's Bungie. You know, like after Halo and Destiny, like they're doing a whole new thing. PvPvE,
Yeah.
extraction.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, wanting to have the like depth of a survival game paired with the approachability of an action game.
Yeah.
And so I watched their whole live stream, and I watched their little short film thing that they did, which was pretty cool.
That was.
And then I checked out Timur's impressions over at GameSpot.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's interesting because you've got like groups of 3, but you can do solo if you want.
Or duo, yep. 1, 2, or 3.
And
At a disadvantage, though, you will be if you play with 1 or 2 people down.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then depending on the map, there'll be up to 6 teams, so you can have up to 18 people on a map. But then you also have all the AI and stuff. And one of the things they're saying is like, unlike a lot of team-based shooters that are out there, the enemies here really push back. Like, you really got to think about like what Halo enemies are like and Destiny enemies are like.
Yeah, they don't
And you
mess
got
around.
them thrown in the mix. So if you kind of dismiss them and you don't deal with them, and then you get into a firefight, then it could be one of the CPU enemies that actually ends up taking you out because you didn't pay attention. You weren't taking them seriously.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing is about getting as much loot as you can and getting out alive. Mm-hmm. And so if somebody takes you down, then they can just rifle through your stuff and
Take your
take all your stuff.
Mug you.
I think that like if you get so much stuff taken out that you don't have any gear, then they have like some like just like
Basic.
feel
10
sorry for me
bullets.
packs,
Yeah.
for you to go into a match with.
Totally.
And then and then they've got like they call the kind of like classes, they call them runners. So there's going to be 6 at launch, and then 4 in the alpha. So there's Locust, which is a soldier, it's like all about like pushing forward,
Classic.
into the map. Blackbird is recon, so spotting enemies, punishing anyone that's having like poor positioning, communicating with the team. Glitch they call a disruptor, so you like pop in, cause a bunch of chaos, and then
Cool.
disappear.
Put some dots on or something.
And then Void is stealth, so like smoke, active camo, and all that.
Nice. Predator.
Yeah, but they say there's
I love punishing people out of position. It's one of the favorite things to do.
Dude, hell
in an
yeah,
online game.
Damiani. I agree.
That's one of the best feelings.
I'm
Best
usually the
feelings.
one out of
I
position.
like literally
getting
just looking at
punished.
them. I'm like, yo, you're out of position. You're out of position.
Yeah.
Time to learn a lesson here.
Yep.
right.
Push too far up, buddy.
So mean though, because it's a new player. They're like, they don't know any better.
They did say that there's no restriction, so you don't like have to like be set to like certain runners to make a team composition because
Yeah.
the runners are actually very customizable. So it's
Yeah.
like you have a kind of a base, and then you kind of like
Yeah.
build how you want to like get your loadout and stuff.
There's also full cross-play, cross-progression as
Yeah,
well, which they
that's
said,
nice.
Which is key. Very key.
But like there's some like status effects. There's like poison and stuff going on in there. They're saying like there's a mod that like allows like your double jump to become a triple jump. All kinds of different ways to kind of like play with your characters. Some of the guys in the couches were like really hyping up the Claymores cuber.
Sick.
So they're saying like basically like they'll find a room with a bunch of loot in it and then like set up a bunch
Dude.
of Claymores and then lure people into it.
Yeah, like,
Sick.
yeah. I got a lot of feelings,
Yeah.
a lot of emotions on Marathon. I'm really torn. I'm really torn about it on like all levels of engagement. My first thought was like, I'm already stressed out.
Oh yeah, you feel
no.
intimidated?
And just like,
That's
am
okay.
I ready to just like grind this shit and get sweaty, dude? Like this already looks like a sweat fest. Like extraction shooters are no joke, you
Right.
know? So yeah, just right up front, it's giving like the intimidation of, really having to put the time into this game and, grouping up with your buddies and
Right.
getting on comms and so that's a little intimidating just right now with how many games there are. Everything's fighting for my time. Like everyone,
Right.
games are just fighting
So
for your
true.
time. So that was one concern. And then, but also it's like, just booting up for a couple matches here and there, you can kind of engage with it the way you want to. Like, you dictate how seriously you take it, That's why I enjoy Fortnite so much. It's because, like, I just drop in there and I'm not being sweaty.
Right.
So it's like, will this game allow you to just have
Yeah.
that low stakes fun, or is it always going to be high stakes because you're fighting other groups of players that are taking it really seriously? Your loot is on the line that you have.
But I mean,
So.
I think that's one of the things that's interesting, especially with them saying that you're not limited to a team comp. Because, like, you could go in, like, all soldiers and just, like, try to mow down everybody you can.
Yeah.
Or, like, you could be the Claymore guy and just be like, I'm just going to sit in the shadows and plant my traps.
Hang out.
And then you guys go down. We, like, pick you off, get your stuff out of your bags, and we
Yeah.
get out of there. We don't
Yeah.
mess with anybody else. So that could help, and like they say, approachability and like what exactly does that mean? I think one of the things they were saying is like that's one of the reasons that they have the CPU enemies is because, even though they're not pushovers, that like helps you get the feel of your weapons and build up the confidence and competence and all of that stuff. So it's like, okay, like these aren't just a bunch of guys that I just like mow down.
Yeah.
So I'm getting better when I'm fighting them as well as, when I come across other players.
And it's also way easier of a sell for me knowing that it's Bungie. Like,
Right.
Destiny has some of the best shooting ever in a first-person game. It just feels so good. It feels just the best.
And it sounds like that's all intact from like the
Exactly,
hands-on
yeah.
that people got to play.
So it's like, and they, Ben Starr even says it, like the best in class first-person shooting. Like it is the best in class. Like you are getting the top quality with Bungie's name on it. So that makes it a little easier sell, but then also at the same time, that confliction of you only have so much time for a live service, never-ending game.
Right.
Like, there's only so many you can be juggling. So my question goes to, like, Don and you, Damiani, and stuff. Like, what does it take for you to be interested and to buy in on a live service type game like this?
I mean, from the perspective of like shooting games, I think this probably needs to do, I think they got the pedigree going for them. The Bungie name, people could be curious.
Yeah.
They're going to want it, like, try it out at the very least, I feel like, and see what like everyone's talking about and say like, yeah, I know their games. Like they were pretty good. Tons of people played them. So like, despite everything here, I feel like a lot of people are willing to give them a chance on that. I'm very curious about the
Footprints.
the pricing model for this game.
Yeah.
Because I saw a lot of outcry, recently about
that's the
what
main
their
conversation I
statement
wanna have,
about
yeah.
this. And so obviously from a gameplay perspective, I think if you just get people, if you win that battle of just having people interested, and then your game is good as and it's also doing something that like maybe people are tired about this in another similar game that's been dominating the genre, but like you're doing something different, like it's just addressing the shortcomings, and it's fun, and everyone wants to keep playing it. I don't know, like this is the thing. If you knew the answer to this, you would be making a ton of money. You'd be a consultant or be like, telling them how to like become the next big thing. For me personally, the problem is it's a shooter and it's first person. So like
Yeah.
I'm not going to be generally into this game, period.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking for is someone like interested in investigating like how it's doing, because we cover this stuff. I'm like, I'm curious to hear about what people think it's going to be doing different compared to its contemporaries, and why they decide to stick with this as they do over anything else. But as I said, the pricing model is the thing that I think throws a little bit of a wrench in the works, because they're calling it a premium product. It's going to be priced as such, and a lot of its contemporaries don't ask you to pay up front just to like for the cost of admission. They're just like, no, jump in. If you like it, battle passes, cosmetic skin packages, whatever it is. It's not pay me 30, 40, or even higher what they're going to be charging for this. It's like, wait, what? Yeah. And they're probably still going to, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to assume they're still going to probably do battle pass and stuff like that in here too. So it's like,
for sure.
Yeah, I think that there is some of the seasonal stuff, but there was some confusion at first where it sounded like it was going to be, a full price $60 or $70, and now it sounds like it's not quite that. Probably. It's going to be more in the middle, but
because like those Destiny expansions alone were $50,
right?
So but it's not so maybe it's a death. I'm not gonna say it's a death sentence. It is definitely an uphill battle, especially today.
Yeah.
Obviously, games in the past have bucked that trend and still exist and are still doing well. Games that ask you to pay an upfront fee and or have a subscription model, whether it's Battle Pass, monthly sub, those still exist and some of those do thrive. For sure. So it's not the end. I think it just they have to win the battle of this doesn't feel greedy. You have to make it feel like this is justified and it's good. Like, damn, this game's got a lot of content. Damn, this game is good. It's way better than the other one. They're updating faster than the other games. Like, shit, this is worth it. As long as you convince people, damn, this is worth it because, I am getting my money's worth. And, I don't want to even go back to how do I even play the other games? You got to, get to that point. Yeah. But I do think that initial knee-jerk reaction, that shock, that sticker shock. It's like, oh God, you're asking me to pay any amount of money? It's and I'm already playing anything else, any of those other games.
So many free-to-play, great.
Are you really gonna 10 games? Yeah. Are you gonna jump from any of those into this? Yeah. And we said they have the pedigree, so people have that curiosity, but it really depends on where they settle with all this because that's such I don't envy the person who has that task of figuring out what is the sweet spot.
We talked about it a lot with Mario Kart and stuff. Mm-hmm. For me, pricing nowadays, you have to earn it. You have to earn your price. So it's to me, Mario Kart and Nintendo, obviously I don't support $80 games. No, it should not fucking drop the price, of course. Yeah. But it's Mario Kart, it's Nintendo. These are two of the best things of all time. Bungie, first-person shooter. They are a respected, proven studio. It's not just some random, Concord. There's a lot of comparisons to Concord. We love Concord here. Concord hadn't proved it.
Right.
They hadn't earned it. It was what is this? Why is this? Why are you charging? Whereas this, it's okay, this is Bungie. You've earned that price.
There's already, and Bungie's always been really good at marketing their stuff too. Mm-hmm. And so I already feel like there's a stronger marketing presence on this than we ever got for Concord, even with the secret level and everything.
Yeah.
So and I think that there's definitely more curiosity. Mm-hmm. But it is tricky. They announced their release date is September 23rd, which I saw looks like it's the same day as Borderlands 4, which is another game where it's you want to hop in with your buddies and stuff, and it's how many people, that's a juggernaut.
Yeah.
It's very different kinds of games, but there are a lot of guys that are going to be
wow.
I'm a big Borderlands fan. I'm going to be there day one.
Marathon,
they're, as much, even if they're curious about Marathon, they're going to at least get through that Borderlands campaign first.
True.
Before they even try to hop in, and then who knows? They might at that point not be, might not be the hot thing on social media at the moment, so they might not even care at that point.
Yeah.
It's and like you were saying, the cadence of when they roll out updates and new maps and stuff, because that was the thing that Timur is worried the most about, because everything here is solid, he says, but he doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of it yet. He doesn't really know how the story hooks are really going to be there. I think we actually saw more in the stream than they saw at the event.
Yeah.
In terms of story stuff.
Shout out to the Galactic Hub in Concord. I love it. I don't give a shit.
But Destiny was, Destiny had a weird rollout with its story. Apparently.
Oh my God.
It eventually got there.
Yeah.
People eventually cared about Destiny's story, but not at first.
Yeah.
So that's the question. It's are we going to see a similar long ramp up of these things, or have they managed to learn some lessons and
it's just
tweak
so
that?
It's so scary. Just the price expectation with people. People there is like a noisy, dedicated mass of people who just like do not want to pay for a multiplayer game nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, it's not free, I'm out. Like that is scary.
It bugs me, yeah.
That is scary.
But it does
Because not all games are made with the
yeah.
same quality as well and production value. Like this game seems high budget.
They didn't say anything about like a free trial period or anything like that. Like maybe like a first week or something, and then like if you like usually a lot of things start even that do like a premium price or some kind of like battle pass or subscription model, like they like allow you to have like the the sample at least. I wonder if it would help them to have that launch weekend.
It should be, dude.
like
Free launch weekend.
like 72 hours free
You're
or something,
so
and
right,
then like
dude.
and if you're like hooked, it's like buy in.
You're
or at some
so
point
right.
do that because like I feel like you got to get people in the door.
Yeah.
and like if people are having that much fun,
Drug dealer
and like your
tactics.
friends are playing it, and they're like, all right, dude, we're playing tonight. It's like, and it says like, hey, you got to pay now. It's like. You're like it becomes an impulse buy at that point, you know, because like you have
you're
that
leveling
pressure.
up, you're playing with your
Yeah.
buds, you're like, all right, I'm in.
Exactly.
I'm in. Yeah,
I feel like that's when you want to hit people for the money is when they're having
Yeah.
such a good time and they're like,
So
it's almost
right.
like they can't back out. It's like
They'll probably
"Nah,
have a
man,"
beta.
like-
They'll probably have an open
Yeah,
beta.
well, they haven't
yeah, like a
closed out
beta.
the
I
next
guess like,
week
yeah, sorry, I
on-
kept
on the
saying trial. I
23rd.
meant
Yeah.
yeah, pretty obvious. They'll do
So
like
I think they're
open
going to have
betas.
all of that stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
it comes to launch, I don't know if they will do anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, like the concern that Timur had about like the content updates, like I think that's like that's the biggest thing for sure. So many games just have a problem with having good content schedules, and even the things that sound great on paper, when players are actually like engaged. Now, obviously. They want you to be playing their game, but like they also have to understand like people play other games as well. But I do feel like a lot of people are more demanding on what they get from these types of games if they're paying for them.
Because there are
And-
so many
yeah.
good free ones, Damiani.
Exactly.
There's just too
Exactly.
many phenomenal free games that continuously get supported and updated. And you're already so invested in those games, those ecosystems.
Right.
Your friends play them, you play them. It's easier to get your group of your friends to play something when it's free as well. And a free game you can put down for a while and come back, and that's less stressful and just easier to get back into it. So, yeah, it's just such an interesting place we're in now with multiplayer type pricing games. And I definitely think it's the end of a long road of resentment from a lot of players that were just tired of all these devs chasing this, the live service chase. So definitely there's some skepticism and some nervous energy when it comes to any of these types of games. And especially Bungie, like, the whole story of The Last of Us Factions getting canceled because Bungie came in and was like, nah, like you can't. You won't be able to support this game. So what does that mean for Marathon? If they're the authorities on keeping your players going and rolling out content.
I also, the other part of it is also the type of content. Like we keep throwing on like PvP, VE, and like, extraction, loot shooter, and it's like how much is enough for these types of games?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going for a specific type of game, like is this format going to be supportive enough of adding enough content? And usually I feel like when people pay up for a game, they're expecting like, like a little bit more. So it's like how difficult is it? I guess I'm like alluding to like you were asking originally, Huber, like what would be something like that would get me into something like this? And obviously I'm not a hardcore shooter gamer, so I would want something more casual to entice me to stay. And that's usually where shooters fall back onto like story content. It's like, PvE content. Like here you go, a little less like intense. You're not dealing with like all these tryhards who like, destroy you, even in like a casual match.
Yeah.
Like here you go, learn the ropes a little bit, get a little bit familiar with the mechanics, and then maybe you'll be enticed to dip your foot into like competitive multiplayer. Mm-hmm. And if they don't have, like, it doesn't sound like this is really going to have any of that. So what other forms of, modes or anything like that are going to be able to do? Or are they really just aiming for a certain type of demographic? And in that case, can that really support long term? And like, are they, I don't know. Like, obviously, they're going for something and it could obviously succeed, but I do see like why so many games generally fall back on to a campaign or story mode nowadays because like shit,
and it's
that's not enough people. We need more,
and it's a known quantity. It's like you just said, Damian. You're like, I don't know like about what new modes and content they can get. That's kind of a crazy thing to ask you to pay money to buy into something when really you don't know how it's going to play out. I mean, you could say the same thing about like a big single player game, but also you know what you're getting into. There's going to be a full, complete campaign.
Right.
But this, it's like, okay, well, how often are you going to update it? Are you going to add new modes? You know? So like having questions about something you're buying, I just think is another like hard sell.
Yeah, I think you have to have some kind of layer that keeps people who have that resistance, the hesitance towards player friction, I guess, like the you know not good confrontation. Like what's the Back to the Future? George McFly, like I'm just not good at confrontations.
Just not good at confrontations.
Yeah, like that. That's a lot of people. They don't like either playing against other players or like losing a lot against other players. So what does your game offer otherwise? Like Fortnite. Oh, here are all these objectives you can do. Sure, you're going to be losing, but
Tune out the other players
you get these
in
six.
Fortnite.
Yeah, you see these 6 skins. There's stuff you can engage with. There's a PvE style objectives you can be doing to work towards a goal.
Yeah,
so that even if
Damiani,
you're getting knocked out, you're not. Yeah.
They did talk about there's going to be like different factions and contracts and stuff like that. So I think that's part of that, where it's like you can actually even.
I hope so, man.
Yeah.
Contracts to me just it sounds like a fancy word for dailies.
Right.
Grind them.
But I
grind
think-
your dailies, everybody.
part of
Get
the-
your component materials.
But I think that's part of like the idea of like what Damiani's talking about is, you know, even if like, you know, you don't like get the number one place or whatever, like you don't get necessarily the best loot, but you get some things that fulfill your contracts, you know, and then you're making progression and you're feeding into that, and so like you can still like get some better stuff and all of that. Yeah. So like there's something there to kind of sink your teeth into, like even if you feel like you didn't have the best results in a match.
Yeah. There's also build crafting, which again is really leaning into how hardcore I think this game is going to be. Like this game is going to be no joke. Full on build crafting, implants, shields, passives, you know, different status ailments and buffs and debuffs. You know, tying that in with all the classes, all the different types of guns. There's going to be a lot of, you know, freedom in how you craft your character, which sounds really exciting, but again, also just could be a little overwhelming. I'm a little...
Yeah, how is that going to do with competitive balance and stuff like that, I guess?
Oh my gosh, and Destiny, notoriously, their PvP was just like, yo, whatever you got, like, you can be OP. Obviously, skill did play a factor, of course, but, like, notoriously hard thing to balance was the PvP side of Destiny. But because it existed within a larger framework, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas this, because it's just the one thing, maybe it will be a little easier to...
Yeah, and they did talk about like changing weather unpredictably and dynamic events. And
Dude,
things
weather
that
is
come
in
there.
right now,
Yeah,
man. Weather in games is in the year of weather.
Yeah, you'll see even like Mario Kart has.
Mario Kart's got weather going on. Yeah.
Don, any marathon takes?
No, I mean, for me, it's kind of like, you know, this isn't obviously one of my most sought after genres. So if I do, you know, it's simple. Like the things that would attract me to it would be like the actual setting and world of story that, you know, sparks my imagination. And because I just don't have a background with, I'm not bringing in any kind of nostalgia for the series or whatever, the franchise. So, you know, I see this and it doesn't necessarily do that for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have any context to the look of it, and nothing in the world is really like spurring my imagination. So yeah, it's undeniable, the quality of it. Like I know what to expect. Like you're saying, Huber, Bungie, you know what this is great for what it is. But because of, you know, what I'm usually looking for, I don't know that it would pull me into it right away.
Which is fine, everybody. Which is fine. Not everything needs to be for you. Remember that before your angry Twitter posts. Gabby, do you think this has the potential to scratch our Concord itch?
She wasn't ready. She's
Sorry, I'm here now. I'm here now. I have a lot of cords all over me. If it's too sweaty, I think it might not be fun.
Got it.
For
Great.
me personally.
Yep.
But I'll try it.
Hell
I'll
yeah.
try anything once.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, for me, it's that the disruptor and stealth style gameplay that they're talking about. Like,
That's your vibe, blood?
yeah, I'm curious about, like, other than like the claymores and stuff. Like, what kind of, because we saw like this thing where they did this blast where they knocked a guy off the roof. Like,
Yeah.
What kinds of crazy toys can
This
I
is
play
perfect.
with? Yeah.
You realize this is perfect, blood, because I am the world's best distraction.
Right.
I will be standing there with a heavy machine gun while you go around and get those stealth kills. Oh, yeah. All right, that's Marathon. A lot of questions still surrounding it. It's funny because it's like Bungie, big AAA, blockbuster, like, mainstream Bungie, but also like it's a niche kind of game.
Yeah.
So it's like that conflicting.
That's
like,
that's the thing. That's
Yeah.
like that's their whole goal is to take
Yeah.
this niche game and then like expand it to a bigger audience. And so we'll see. Like, will that work? Will that happen?
lean into the hardcoreness. Yeah, we will see. And hopefully we get those betas pretty soon. I would love...
The closed alpha is next week.
Nice. And
So,
I would
yeah.
love if Keeley like dropped open beta. Like for Summer Game Fest week. That'd be a cool time.
Sure.
Just like, boom,
You
Marathon,
heard
hop in.
they threw shade on him
Who did?
at the in the marathon stream. Let me see if I can find the because I made a note of it last week.
The
It was
Keeley
hilarious.
shade.
They were like actually talking about they had to come in and rescue him.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Keeley's team was having trouble, so I had to step in and make sure he could do all right.
Keeley went down. Keeley needed backup. All right. Pretty wild, though. That, first new game since Destiny 2. That was a while ago. I know we've had so many expansions for Destiny.
yeah.
It's like Bungie never went away, but
Yeah.
here we go. Brand new thing.
And that's the other thing too. It's like also all the trouble of the studio and
The
people
layoffs.
getting let go and
17%. Yeah. So we will see how it goes. Interesting. Like if Marathon bombs commercially, that'll be one of the biggest stories I feel like of the year.
yeah, that'll be rough.
Yeah.
But I am, I'm both hopeful and nervous at the same time.
Yeah. Same. I'm right in the middle. Everyone. Right in the middle of Marathon. Could be awesome. Could be a train wreck. We will find out together. All right. Which brings us to the GOATY of 2025. Potentially.
We got another one.
Mario Kart World. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right.
We had a full-on direct. Damiani, did you learn anything? Did your mind and emotions change at all after you watched this? Break it down for us, dude.
I mean, I liked what I saw. It didn't present a ton of it wasn't as much new information in this as like what had already been shown like in the Treehouse Live segments.
Right.
It did have a little bit more in there, but it wasn't like 15 minutes of brand new information. It was just taking, I think, everything that's been said, putting it into a little bit more concise video, but also like we saw visually a lot of like new things we hadn't like seen before, like in terms of like courses, characters, and a few other cool things. I think it's looking pretty good. The specific things I liked is that they confirmed that you can still do like 3 laps of a single course.
Yeah.
So they've been talking about like how you're going to travel between courses in Grand Prix mode, and people are wondering, well, can I just play the same course 3 laps? And like that will still be there as well. You can choose that option. The other thing is in the free roam mode. I'm like, well, what are we going to be doing in free roam? They talked about like a few hidden things that you can activate, like P switches, like block, like question mark blocks you could step on, coins,
food,
special coins. You can, the food, like the and then we found out about the cosmetics. That was the other big thing. It's like they're just cosmetics.
Yeah.
They're not like
no funny abilities or anything tied to them.
And once you unlock them, you can choose them in the character select. You can change your character's appearance from there.
great.
So
God, that's gonna
whether
be
they're
so
just hidden
addicting,
in
Damiani.
free,
Get all those.
Yeah, so finding all of those and how to get them, like obviously they want to probably leave that up to like, players figuring that out, but are they all just gonna be available right out the gate? Will there be some down the line? But at least they answered that what they are, that they're strictly just cosmetics. And any of the courses, man. We need to talk to Dawn about it's on screen, Salty Speedway and like the
wave
water
race.
stages.
Yeah,
they do have true wave race.
It's just wave race stage.
They have a whole wave race stage.
Yeah.
And like they even alluded to like at they besides wave race, they alluded to a special thing you're going to unlock. Later on.
Yeah. That was a great nod.
teased
That was
Rainbow
great.
Road at the after
And
the
well,
course.
Not just a
Cinema.
Rainbow Road, maybe a whole like Grand Prix. They said like a whole circuit.
Dude,
It's
the
like,
Rainbow Circuit.
but
Because
you
you're
know,
gonna travel
Galaxy
between
Circuit,
locations.
dude.
Are you gonna travel from there up, or is it all gonna be in space?
Flying from like
woohoo.
planet to planet, dude. You
Hell
can
yeah!
fly
that's
to,
gonna be
oh my
I hope they get like Bowser's Galaxy
Oh my
reactor up
God,
there and
dude.
shit. Like, dude. Dude, what was that one where like Bowser looked like he was like a Secret Service outfit or something? He looked like he was in like a suit, dude. At one point.
FBI
I was
Bowser.
like, Bowser in an FBI outfit. I was like, what's going on here?
Rainbow Road in the past has been, one of those longer point-to-point courses.
Dude, just flying over Earth would be insane.
Right, but that's why I'm thinking is like, maybe this is like a Rainbow Road that's as long as like a knockout tour or a Grand Prix, just in one
giant
giant track, essentially one giant Rainbow Road.
Freaking
Kind of like,
intense.
Let's go one better.
Yeah.
What if they just are full embracing their tech? And you could just fall from Rainbow Road down to any part on the surface.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
And like you're diving in sky, like you're diving in Tears of the Kingdom down from the sky to the surface. There's a whole underground they haven't talked about yet.
Also, the different vehicles. In the last Mario Kart, we could change the tires and
parts.
stuff
Yeah.
and the parts. It looked for now like you just choose the
Correct.
car. We didn't see any customization.
right.
Yeah.
So basically,
Correct.
the characters have stats,
and
the carts have stats, and then you.
I like that, dude. I like that.
A little bit more classic style.
Yeah, just let me pick my ride, and that's good to go.
Yeah, it was like when I checked it out, that's how I felt, Huber. At first, I would think like, oh no, why take away the customization? But with the huge variety of carts they designed, I pretty much always found like exactly what I would have designed it like this for this race anyway. So this is my selection.
Yeah.
Like Blood was saying, all these carts, the way the design is like a lot of personality with them and everything.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. I was gonna say it gives them so much more personality than just like changing
Yeah.
the tires on your one frame that you always use. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Go for it, Damiani.
Yeah, I mean, I think visually, I just like they really showcased a lot of the freedom in the free roam mode. Like I knew you're gonna be able to drive around anywhere, but just showing how vast a lot of the things are, and how
Vast.
crazy. But the other big thing, the last one other crazy thing before I forget. I didn't know because I don't think I saw it in the Treehouse Live. There are two parts where you drove into like a big rig and you start driving big rig.
Damiani, bro.
I was like, what?
You better be able to mod in the Terminator 2 soundtrack anytime you get into that big rig, dude. I want T1000 vibes running you down.
Play it off your phone. That's all you gotta be able to do.
They gotta have Metal Mario can jump on the hood and
They showed giant vehicles that you can just commandeer during the middle of a course. One was like, I think a flying one too, like a big like flying plane.
Nice.
I was like,
I didn't catch that.
Like,
Dude, Bowser in the
it's near the end-
semi
it's in the
truck,
end
bro.
montage.
There's a lot of little
but-
things that's sneaking in here.
Dude, Bowser in the semi truck is like my
There's
dream.
so many good quality of life updates. I wasn't there for it, but I'm sure Blood brought up in like his impressions about how like you don't like have to hold down the button anymore for your item. Like this game is just doing a lot of right things. The one thing I will say, small. Oh, they showed battle mode, but to my small disappointment, I'm glad battle mode's in there. I'm glad the coin mode is in there. Nothing about like Mario Kart DS stuff like that doesn't seem to be in the cards right now.
Yeah.
Like the boss
Maybe later
encounters, like the challenges, like maybe that's down the line.
They
but that's like
supported-
the one small thing I've like wanted to see returns as Mario Kart DS, and they're not doing it. But like again, I'm like kind of overwhelmed, like how much like I'm gonna have to replay a course to really truly do and see everything in it. It's like you feel like in Mario Kart, you've done like one set of 3 laps. I'm like,
I know.
I might have missed one shortcut, but I've seen everything in this track. But now it's like dude,
Good,
like,
dude.
have
Reset
I?
the meta, Damiani.
Yeah.
Reset it, dude.
Oh yeah, and like the driving at the wall stuff, like how they had to like design wall surfaces to have like extra interactive elements for them, so that like you can like jump off ramps. And then the last thing, blood. What do you think about like that rewind feature? You can do it in
what
real
the
time,
hell?
but it will cost you.
Yeah.
like it's not like you're rewinding everybody, but like what do you think of that?
People are
honestly?
going to be
like,
trolling with that, dude, in like professional leagues.
It
Like
seems
you're going to
sketch
get
as hell.
first, and you're going
Can
to
you rewind out of the blue shell?
Yeah.
Can you rewind? It's probably not online, but like in single player, could you use that?
Yeah, I think that, I think some of that stuff, because like the blue shell, it's like it tracks you even if you fall behind. So I think you won't be able to rewind out of that. But I do think that's interesting because I definitely had those moments when I was doing some of that open world exploration where it's like, I was going through like a tricky sequence of things and it's like, oh, I just missed time to jump, and so now I got to drive back around. So like if I'd known about the rewind, then okay, I could try that jump a couple of times. So I think that's nice there with the exploration and stuff. But yeah, in a race, it's gonna cost you. So
Yeah.
it's a nice balance there.
If I miss the item box, like within a second, I'm just gonna rewind 1 second
That's
and
what
get that
I'm
item
thinking,
box.
Damian. It's so
I'm
sketchy.
gonna abuse the hell out of that to get the double item box.
Yeah, the
Every time someone
rewind freaks
stole
me
it from
out.
me,
You're-
I'm gonna rewind a little further and slow down.
Yeah.
I'll rewind like 1 second
There's probably a
because
nice-
those missing an item
There's
cost you
probably
so
a
much.
cooldown. It probably, like
I wonder if you hold it or if there's a set rewind.
Yeah, and I think of like when you fall off the course in a Mario Kart and you have to get like put back on the track, I imagine there'll be like a little kind of delay when you rewind and then try to go forward again, maybe.
They
Just to
did
really
it
like
in
slow you
action.
down.
It's not that.
It didn't seem
like-
that punishing, yeah.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about some of the other things.
The new items. I really want to talk about the new items.
The Kamek item I had not seen before,
Dude.
and that was really cool.
The
Where
new
it's like
items
it transforms everybody into and there they changed them to charging chucks.
Yeah.
But they were also charging chucks like on that track.
Yeah,
so
and they hinted at other transformations possibly too.
I think that's pretty cool.
And the hammer, dude. The hammer looks
Oh,
so
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I want to know how you aim it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's got
Just
the
so you gotta
arc,
arc it.
but then they're saying it also like sticks on the track for a little bit. So
That's
it's like
the best.
if you hit in front of somebody, they'll still probably run into it.
Someone going for a shortcut, you like block off the path with your hammers real quick.
But the charge jump, that was one of the mechanics that I didn't understand when I was
That
playing
sounds
it.
good too.
So this is how you do the wall jumps and stuff: is you hold the drift button while you're going straight, and
Hell
then
yeah.
you can jump. And so that helps you do the wall riding, and that helps you get to some of the rails and stuff like that. But it also, they're saying that like if somebody throws like a red shell or something at you, you can charge jump and like jump over it and let it
insane.
pass by. So that's pretty cool.
Jeez.
They have the ice flowers in there is one of the items. The coin shell,
Coin shell seems really fun. Risk versus reward.
Yeah, you toss it out there and there's like just a pile of or a path of coins goes wherever its path is. The mega mushroom is back.
Mega mushroom.
That was super fun to play with at the event. And then the feather was another thing that you could use to like jump out of the way, a little more quicker reaction.
And in the narration too, they were talking about how you can use that for secret routes. Like, dude, if Damiani, do you
bringing
like
that back where you need. Yeah, okay, I want
you need an item to
items
get-
required to
Yes.
reach secret routes to come back.
Love it.
I don't know when the last time it was required, but like my mind only goes back to like Mario Kart 64 is the last time I can distinctively remember like mostly needing power ups to reach some of those like
So
shortcuts.
sick.
Yeah. Also, I love how they talked about how some of the names are of courses you've seen in the past, but like they're reimagined in this game and in this world. So while you're not seeing a literal recreation, because it's Mario Kart, old courses come back.
Yeah.
And we're not really seeing that in this one. So it was nice that they addressed that to an extent, saying like, hey, some of the names might be familiar and you might seem the themes are a little bit similar, but this is we're going for a different direction with this game. Like we need these courses to fit into like a giant world. So like you're not going to really get the same ones. Now there could be like they might have something they just haven't shown off yet. That is like.
Well, I did see like it looks like one of the courses looks like a classic like Super Mario Kart course, and I don't know if like if that's different than the normal Grand Prix courses, or if it's just kind of like a fun little thing that's out on the map. But yeah, so I thought that was cool to see there. There's some other little things. The online stuff I'm really interested and excited for because they said that you can do up to 4 teams. You can have 4 teams of 6.
I'm so hyped.
So all
on
of us
that.
could be on one team, and then we, have different teams for chat and all of that. So I really like that. But they also went into the game chat stuff, and it's like, but wait a minute, this is a limitation because game chat is 4 people. And so, like, you have a team of 6, but there's 2 people that can't hear you? Like,
Yeah, I'm not.
that's a little bit of a weird bit.
Maybe it's audio for 6 people, but video only for 4?
I don't think so. I think the game chat is like, it's all or nothing kind of
There
thing.
might be a message saying there's a restriction if you try and do team mode with more than 4 players on a team. Who knows? Like, I'm gonna guess there's gonna be something that clearly.
But game
says,
chat is like kind of a system level thing above like what's in the game, right? So like that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit of a weird bit there. Because I don't even think you can do voice with more than 4 players.
Do you think they'll add Tony Hawk as a character?
No.
With all this grinding,
pretty
dude.
good.
You're
That's
grinding
pretty
so
good.
many rails, Damiani.
I'll say one for the fans. Like, one of the first characters they had better be Diddy Kong.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, there's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
a tie-in with Bonanza 100%. I'm sure.
Overlooked way too much from Mario Kart. It's Diddy Kong's time.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll have a Bonanza event when that game comes out.
Well,
whether
the
it's a
Donkey Kong
course
looks a
or-
little bit more like the Bonanza Donkey Kong. Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
whether
people
they-
have pointed that out earlier, right? It's like Donkey Kong looks different in Mario Kart.
Yeah, they'll add something.
What's funny is they showed off new characters, but then they were sneaking in characters like the dolphin towards the end,
Yeah.
and like the penguin from Mario 64 is one of them, and it's like wait, what is going on? You
There's so
stopped
many.
like you were showing us the new characters, and then you just keep showing us other ones you didn't talk about.
Yeah.
And there's like a snowman in there even. Like you drive as one of
Yeah.
the snowmen.
So sick.
Crazy.
And
Before I
tons
forget-
of dinos.
Huber.
Yo.
I felt like they were speaking your language. The haunted Boo stage.
Dude, the
we
Boo
drive into the
cinema,
haunted
man.
cinema, and it
cinema.
changes into like a noir cinema part.
I couldn't imagine a stage I would want more than that. Like, literally peak. Number 1. 10
Like,
out of 10.
Haunted Mansion?
Yep.
Cinema movie
Done.
theater.
It's done, dude. The
Huber
best.
Bay.
Yeah, it is the best. For sure.
One little thing that I noticed on the online section that I hadn't seen before is there was when you hit somebody, there's a little HUD thing that popped up with their name and said, "Got 'em."
Got him.
So
Got 'em.
like that's a
Jeez.
step up above
Got
just
'em.
them like cheering or clapping
Yeah.
or whatever they did before, right? So like now you actually know who you hit. Like I think that's
Got
good.
'em.
I think that's satisfying.
So intense.
Anyway,
I wonder if it like I want to see the other side of it. I want to know if you see who hit you.
Yeah.
I hope
more
so.
accurately
Get
plan your
revenge.
revenge.
Rivals.
Yeah, I hope so.
Also coming on this Mario Party. Be prepared.
I do love the idea. Oh, this is what Dummy was talking about, getting in this truck. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, see? Look at this. That's like insane.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
There's another one they were talking about launching bullet bills, and they had kind of the classic thing where like there were some that you had like boost ramps, like you drive on the back and jump off. This thing is really funny where they used a camera to like put your face above there, and they're saying that works even in local multiplayer. Like if you have a camera, it'll pick up all 4 people in the room.
Yeah, it's great.
I like that. That's like Mario Kart Arcade, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do like that.
Yeah. You know what I don't like is $79 US.
Right. No change
Are you
on
sure?
that. This was probably pre-recorded.
$79.99.
Did the press release mention the game price
US
still?
dollars.
Because they said nothing about price in the video.
It
I know
wasn't
they
in the
already
video, but I
I know
think
they
if
already
they were
said
going to
it
make
at
a
the
statement
direct.
to change it, then it probably.
No,
But at
I think
least-
they're waiting.
At least they have
There's a lot in the
shown-
press release here.
At
Like,
least
hang
they
on.
have shown so much fucking content for this game already. And last Mario Kart
There
was
is no dollar sign in the press release.
Mario Kart was updated with all those tracks. I know you need to pay for all that post stuff, but like it was updated for a long time. Hopefully there's like free events for this one this time around, free stuff like that.
There it is. That's the thing. Oh, if you passed it. There was like a giant.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone was controlling it. It looked like it was being controlled. But anyway,
I think it has earned the world subtitle. Just like all those courses already.
Oh, yeah.
All those characters and different vehicles and collectibles. A lot of different modes. Like, good start. Good start for Mario Kart, I feel like.
yeah. Need a price. A price and a system pre-order date.
Good grief.
Right. But I mean, the price is still listed at $80 US. So like
80?
that's still what's on the stores.
Drop the price.
The
Just drop the price.
there's something else I wanted to. Oh, the other thing that's nice is the local play supports up to 8 players local.
Yeah.
And you can have like 1 or 2 people per system.
Cool.
So that's fun.
Yeah. But then it might be like Monaco 2 style, where it's like, yo, I need my full screen for this. I can't see what the hell's going on.
Well, no, because it's 8-player local. That's
8 switches.
8 switches.
Yeah.
You can do 4-player split screen, but with 8-player local, you can also have like some switches where like a person is split screen, right? So
Got it.
or you could probably do LAN it up.
Yeah.
If you got 8 TVs,
Jeez.
go for it.
That'd be insane. 8 switches, 8 TVs must be nice. Jeez.
Head over to my place, everyone. If you people don't mind
Han's
playing.
got the 3D
Hopefully you don't
TV.
mind playing on it. We love to play on CRTs, but it'll be okay.
Literally, first thing I'm doing is just free roam for like the first
I want to
hour
see
of
how
that
many different
game.
kinds of missions there are.
Yeah.
Because it's like we saw the blue coins, then we saw the armadillo thing, and the
Yeah.
armadillo thing looked really different. And then the thing with the charge and chucks looked kind of different in there.
So cool.
A lot of those, like the ones that we played, like there were a lot of really interesting obstacles and things going on those courses.
I just hope I don't build myself up too much with how big the secrets can get, Like, is it just what they just showed here, go around, do a little mini game type, collect the coins, unlock costume, that's it? Or will there be some that are like, hop up here, then down here, then slide in here, all of a sudden you're in a brand new area or something,
Well, I'm very curious what else you unlock, right? Because you unlock the costumes by getting the drive-through
cars
bags.
Probably as well. You unlock
but it's like, but you're collecting coins, but you're also collecting the Peach medallions.
Mm-hmm.
So what the heck?
Yeah.
What are the Peach medallions for?
Exactly.
Right?
Maybe cars. Maybe that's how you unlock.
Maybe, but then why are you collecting coins?
Great question.
Right? So
Maybe.
there's like another thing there to unlock somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because there's a lot of I was driving around and finding Peach medallions like kind of all over the place, but I was also finding like piles of coins all over the place too.
Yeah.
So 2 different currencies.
Yeah.
Something's up. Something's there.
Any other closing thoughts, panel, on Mario Kart?
Just want to get out there.
Excited to try it. Yeah.
Get out there.
You got anything
Drive
done?
around with some friends. I actually am curious with that free roam, driving around with friends, if somebody else picks up a Peach medallion. Do you get
credit?
that for your game? How does that work?
If you're grouped up in a party, maybe.
Yeah. How does that
wonder.
work?
Nintendo's pretty friendly. I imagine it's group shared, but
Yeah.
maybe not. Final thoughts, Don?
Just, a lot of curiosity about the rewind feature. This brought a big question mark in my mind. I mean, in that trailer, we see you miss one of those alternate paths and then you rewind and then make that alternate path. So even if you're like, the people are catching up to you, like that kind of thing, that kind of correction can be huge in Mario Kart. I have a feeling they've got to have some kind of like forced amount you're rewinding. So you can't completely control like just rewind, let go, now I'm starting.
Right.
I think when you activate that rewind, maybe it's like a certain amount of time it's guaranteed to rewind or something. Otherwise,
that's-
I don't
They
know how it can't be
rewinded
abused
pretty
otherwise.
far at one point.
Yeah, it looked
though,
pretty
for sure.
intense.
It did.
Insane. Like they're like, I think they're just showing like, you could really just for funsies rewind all the way back to the beginning. If you
But
want.
even if you could rewind all the way back, because like a lot of racing games have rewind, even then, a lot of the times it's not granular, right? You're still like rewinding in chunks. So you could rewind, but then you could rewind again. But if you're the only one rewinding, like that is gonna cost you.
It will cost you, you know.
Yeah.
If you got Damiani,
But you also be back
slipping
where
and
the good
sliding
items
there.
are too.
It will cost you.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
I'm
you have
already
to-
thinking of an
Rewind,
rewind
pick up
versus
that
Damiani,
legend
Damiani.
bolt.
right. I
Done.
already got an achievement right now. Thinking of achievements right now. Rewind, start a race, and finish one lap, and rewind back to the beginning of the lap, and still finish in first place. Like shit like that. You know it's coming.
Dude.
Get ready. It's coming.
All right. Oh, I cannot wait. It is time for the wonderful Henk Rogers interview. Check that out. Tetris hype,
Yeah.
JRPG hype.
Heck yeah.
Lot going on there. Enjoy it.
Henk Rogers, welcome to the Easy Allies podcast.
Good morning.
So you have a new book that's out April 1st, right?
April Fool's Day. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, I was actually just asking about that earlier. It's a fun day to put it out. The perfect game, Tetris from Russia with Love. And of course, it's got the Tetris story in there, but I'm about 200 pages in now. And it's not just that, right? It's basically like your full autobiography.
Well, it's not my full autobiography because I don't die in the book.
Sure. True.
So it's, I still have a ways to go. It's sort of my computer game career.
Right. Awesome. So yeah, like I said, I've been reading it. I went through all of Tetris Forever just last week to prepare. And of course, I read your story. I think the first time is probably like 25 years ago or something in Game Over.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I worked with David Sheff to get some inside stories about Nintendo.
Yeah. And there's a whole chapter on just the
Yeah,
Tetris saga and
it
everything
was
there.
pretty good, except for the bit where we're drinking whiskey while we're playing Go. That never happens.
Got it. Yep. Yeah. I heard that there's some embellishments there for sure.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's one of the most interesting human stories in the business of video games. You know, just everything that has happened from front to back. It's very interesting to me, but we have to kind of get the audience caught up here because
Okay.
people who haven't read books about video game business
All right.
probably don't know that much of the perspective, right? So, what is kind of your quick cliff notes of your involvement in Tetris and what happened?
Well, okay. So the quick cliff notes is I went to university, majored in computer science, minored in Dungeons and Dragons. 6 years later, personal computers came out in Japan, and I created a computer game, the Black Onyx, and it how can I say launched role-playing games in Japan. It was the #1 game in Japan in 1984. Ended up self-publishing, so I had a publishing company at the end of that. And I wrote the first 2 games and then started traveling around the world looking for games to bring to Japan. I found Tetris at the Consumer Electronics Show in 1988. It was being published by a company called Spectrum Holobyte on personal computers. And I went off after all the rights. And, I got hooked on the game at Consumer Electronics Show, brought it back, it got everybody else hooked on the game. And so it was obvious that this was like a different kind of game. It
Yeah.
wasn't just the guys playing, it was the women. It was like there was no differentiation between age or gender or whatever. Everybody played this game.
Yeah, I love the detail when you said that Yamauchi at Nintendo had brought Miyamoto in to ask whether or not it would be a hit game, and he's like, "Well, all of your staff are playing it already."
Yeah, he asked the words were, is it a great game?
Mm,
Yeah. And even a great game doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a hit. So,
correct. Yeah.
but it was a great game. That's enough for Yamauchi to take action.
And then you worked with Nintendo of America to convince them to put it as a launch game on the Game Boy, and then
Right.
went to the Soviet Union of all places to make that happen.
Yeah, yes, I did. I got on a plane with a tourist visa to find Elorg. I had no idea. I didn't know anybody in Moscow. Didn't, of course, speak a word of Russian. It was an adventure game. I mean, a classic adventure game. Just step out into the hotel and okay, now who do you talk to and what do you ask them? The hotel information desk had nothing. They absolutely had nothing. I spent a couple of days with taxis going from place to place looking for the Russian Go Association because I thought if I could find a Go player, I would have a friend. I did. Unfortunately, my friend never spoke any English, so he was used. I ended up hiring an interpreter, and she knew her way around immediately, which made me think that she was KGB.
Right, right. Yeah, and I actually just read the part where they sent two agents to your business in Japan while you were there.
Yeah. Oh my God. Everybody was terrified. What the hell happened? Because I hadn't been able to call home because at the time it takes 8 hours to make a phone call out of the Soviet Union. And, I didn't have time to sit by a phone for 8 hours. I did that like twice. And during that time, we were visited by two Russians who actually they were probably just there checking to see if I actually had a real business. They were checking
Right.
my story. The story was that I was a publisher of computer games in Japan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they found out, yep, there is in fact this a company called Bulletproof Software in Japan.
Great. And so yeah, so you had your version, the Famicom version that your team had built in Japan, and then you were
Mhm.
there to get the rights for the Game Boy version for Nintendo. And then that was basically when history was made, and things kind of go on from there. But I think we got just enough to give people a basic idea of who you
Yep.
are and what happened there. And now you have the Tetris company that's essentially
I-
your company.
Yeah, so I made a deal with Alexei Pajitnov. He is rightfully Mr. Tetris. He's the guy who created the game. If you want to call me something, you can call me Dr. Tetris because I kept the game alive all these years. But yeah, so we did a handshake in 1993, I think it is, and because he believed that Elorg was going to say that he had no rights in Tetris and it was going to rip him off. And in fact,
Mm,
come 1995, when the rights supposedly revert to Alexei, they come out and say, yeah, he had no rights. It was work for hire, blah 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 blah. And so he and I then went to bat. I went to bat for Alexei, and we ended up settling with Elorg and made a 50-50 company called the Tetris Company, which I ran. And that worked for about 7 years, and then we had a meltdown, and I ended up buying them out.
yeah, it's great.
So now it's all Alexei and myself. I
That's
don't run the
amazing.
company anymore. My daughter Maya runs the company. She actually went to school and studied business. So she knows how to do business and market and brand manage. She knows all that stuff. I know how to make computer games.
Excellent. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of like the preamble. So to get everyone up to speed, this is what we're talking about today.
Okay.
Uh, what prompted you to write the book? Just because it's been told so many different formats in so many different ways,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
putting
So
your own personal take on it.
yeah, so I was working on the script with Alexei and the script of the movie, and the movie has so much Hollywood in it that I wanted to set the record straight. And so
Mm,
I took the time. It was during COVID anyway, so I took the time to write the story of what actually happened. My trip to Moscow leading up to it and so on. Basically, I wrote the story of the movie as it actually happened. And then somebody read it and said, "You know what? This would be a book if it was a little bigger." And I said, "Well, I'm not going to rewrite the chapters I've already written and add water, so to speak, to make
right.
them, bloated. I'll write the before and after." And so I did. And so it became the story of my computer game career.
Excellent. And yeah, you touched on this as well, but before we get into Tetris, one of the things that I think is even easy for me to forget is that initial Black Onyx story and this amazing feat of introducing RPGs at all to Japan.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
Yeah, I mean, it was a Herculean lift because what I didn't know, because I knew nothing back then, I didn't speak, read, or write Japanese. I didn't know that people in Japan didn't play Dungeons and Dragons. Whereas in
Hmm.
the US, there was Dungeons and Dragons. And so when Ultima and Wizardry came out, people already knew how to play a role-playing game. They didn't have to be taught how to play a role-playing game. And so when I made Black Onyx, I was making a game for people who had never played a role-playing game before. So it was a heavy lift. I
And
had
did you have those reference points? Like, were you aware of Wizardry and Ultima at that time, or
oh
was it
yeah,
just D&D?
I had played Wizardry.
Okay.
I had a friend who had an Apple II, and I used to go to his house and play Wizardry. So I never did play Ultima, but Wizardry, and it was more my style of a role playing. I like to be in the game, so to speak, rather than have a little character walking around. Um, but I didn't. How can I say my story is different. I started with miniatures. If you play D&D on paper, you play with little lead figurines that you paint and so on. Those little lead figurines are actually represented in my game. You can graphically see little people and little monsters and so on. So I was much closer to the actual Dungeons and Dragons, if you will, in terms of the look of the game.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I was actually blown away when you were saying that you had actually created graphics for upgrading things like armor and stuff with the amount of memory that you had to work with.
this is t-shirt that I'm going to be wearing today.
Excellent.
This is so I'm in Japan to give a eulogy at a sort of celebration of life for one of the presidents of one of the software companies who passed away last December.
Hmm.
And they asked me to give a speech, so I'm here.
Wow. Um, yeah, but there's a lot so even with that reference for wizardry, there's still a lot that you basically were making up as you went. Like you essentially on your own had to like create the idea of like a health bar and all of that you're saying.
Yeah, the bar where you watch the damage happening. I didn't want see, in wizardry, it was all numbers. And you see a number on the screen, and the number doesn't really give you a feeling of like how much damage you've taken. You have to actually interpret the number and look at the number and say, well, I'm now at I don't know, I have like 8 hit points left, whatever. But the bar graph makes it very clear at a glance what everybody's situation is, all of the people in the and I think now it's ubiquitous. Everybody uses the that health bar graph um, for showing damage and hit points. And the other thing that's nice about it is you, as you get, like when you first meet a monster or a character on the other side, you see their bars. You know they're
Yeah.
bigger than you or smaller than you very, very quickly. And and as the fight progresses, you can see both sides turn, getting red. You know it's time to run if you're like Dave's got a long way to go and you've already taken too much damage. So it's a much more visceral experience, um, figuring out like where your character's health is at.
So clear up the timeline for me because this all seems like it must have happened incredibly fast because you have Black Onyx come out end of 83, right? And
Right.
then 84 it actually catches on, becomes the best-selling game in Japan.
Yep.
And then now like all of the like you essentially kickstarted a genre, right? Like Wizardry eventually comes over and then Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy were not that far behind.
Yeah, so then there was an explosion. It's like the Cambrian explosion of role-playing games in Japan. Hydlide and Ys and Dragon Quest and Dragon Slayer and Legend of Zelda. I mean, role-playing became like, I don't know what it is today, but it was 40% of the market from zero after Black Onyx.
Wild. Wild. Um, did any of those designers ever come to you and ask questions and pick your brain about things?
Um, No, because I didn't speak Japanese.
Okay. I know
So
you said you went out with drinks with a lot of different heads of the
yeah, yeah,
company and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. You know, I know I had developers move my code to other machines, and the programmer, came to me and said, "What does it mean? Are you a programmer at all?"
No, not really.
Okay, okay. So there's a statement in BASIC called go to, and you jumps to another part of the program. Basically, that's what go to. And in one part of the code, it says go to hell. And he asked, what does it mean? And because there's no place in the code called hell. So I said, no, it's just a joke. Hell is undefined variable, and so it causes a syntax error, which
Hmm.
reboots the game. What it meant is that the last of your characters has died, and then you get to that go to hell, and it reboots the computer, which means you have to load your character in again from
Oh,
wherever you
okay.
saved it the last time. So,
Amazing.
so that was, yeah, it was just a joke.
Um, One of the things that, Tetris Forever allowed me to do that I'd never done before, never even had an image in my head, was to see Alexi's like original version, the Electronica 60 version,
Yep.
and play that. And I was surprised by the fact that like I found it to be one of the most playable versions, even though the rules were different and so many things had changed, like it's actually like so perfect right then.
Whenever we go into design mode for Tetris, I make everybody go back to the original Tetris and say we start from there. We don't start from some later version of Tetris. We go back to the original because the original, like you said, it's a pure game. Um, the the main difference I would say is there was no soft drop. There's only hard drop,
Right,
and it 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 the game basically is different. So where you get points is the higher you drop a piece, the more points you make. Because for each line that it passes as you hard drop it, you get an extra point. So the best player would be drop, 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 drop. But of course, then you're making a mess at the bottom.
right.
And and
And lines was just a way to get rid of the mess at the time.
right, right. So there wasn't specifically like you're trying to clear lines. I added single, double, triple Tetris to the game so that people would think about, oh, I got to create lines or more line than one at a time. So that's my little contribution to the game.
How did that end up propagating into every version of Tetris, even before you kind of got full control?
Um, it was just a good, it was a good
Yeah,
idea. What can I say? And in the beginning, there was nobody telling anybody, no, like the Russians weren't telling anybody you can and cannot do this.
right,
As a result, the Sega version on arcade and the Nintendo version on Game Boy are very different. And the Nintendo version, the as the block is falling, you control it and you decide where you are going to put it. Once it lands, it locks immediately. In the Sega version, you can hard drop, and once it's on the bottom, you can still rotate it. You can still
yeah,
move it around. So basically, when you watch a Sega player play, it's hard drop, roll, hard drop, roll, hard drop, roll. The pieces look like they're rolling into place. And Nintendo, it's like you have to do it while it's in the air, so to speak. And I had to when I took over in '96, I had to make those two games become one.
hmm,
And so we could have players that played from the Sega version and players that played the Nintendo version, and we put them all together. And so the way it works today, I created what is called super rotation. So while the piece is falling, it looks like it's Nintendo rotation, but once it's landed, it switches over and does Sega rotation. So it can do both.
hmm.
So you can play it either way.
Um, how long was it before you actually got to see Alexi's version of the game? Because when you first saw it at CES, it was the Spectrum Holobyte version, right?
Yeah, that was that would have been early January of 88. And I went to the Soviet Union in the end of February 89. So 13, maybe almost 14 months.
Okay. But so you did get to see it when you went on that first trip?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like after we had been in one meeting, Alexi and I immediately recognized each other as game designers. And then he wanted to show me all his games, and I wanted, we are communicating games. I was the first game designer that came from anywhere that he met.
Mm,
So, I mean,
amazing.
there's no such thing as a game designer in the Soviet Union. He was a mathematician, and he liked puzzles, but he wasn't a game designer per se.
Yeah. Um, Kind of similar to that. Why do you think that the NES and the Game Boy versions are so sticky? It's like I feel like yes, there's some level of a nostalgia for us that were around when it, kind of first became popularized, but then you see things like, Blue Scooty making the news and all of that, and it's like, how did this guy even get an NES?
Yes. Yeah, it's incredible. It's amazing. Yeah, there are a number of games that are like that live on the old consoles or the old, computers, and for some reason they've outlived the platform. Sometimes I own several computers only because there's a game on that computer that I used to play, and that's why I still have that computer.
Yeah,
It hasn't made it to the modern machines, and yeah, you could say that though the games back then, less BS and more game. And today we're mesmerized by graphics and sound and all kinds of other things that are not really core to the game. Um,
right.
what can I say? It's sometimes simple is best.
Um, One of the details in there that one of my friends was actually curious to know more about was that you had to convince your wife's family to put up all of their property for you to make orders on the Famicom version.
Yes. I'm just plugging in my computer.
Oh, sure.
That wasn't me. That was my wife. She did that whole thing. She was definitely in the business with me from the very get-go because I didn't speak, read, or write Japanese now. So she did all of that. And um yeah, she knew what the whole turnaround looked like in terms of, you put in your order, pay Nintendo Cash, a couple of months later, the order actually comes through, it goes into distribution, and distribution pays you. So, I mean, the risk during manufacturing is that something could happen, and for whatever reason, you can't release the product. If you can't, then those cartridges become garbage. And that's what I was facing when I was in Moscow when Mr. Belikov, I showed him my game, and he looked at it and he said, "We never licensed Tetris for console." I'm like, holy smokes, because I had $2 million. I had all of my in-laws' land as collateral for a loan. Uh, I was sweating some bullets at that moment.
Wow. But so they just essentially trusted your instinct on that game enough that
They
that
trusted
they
their
went for it.
daughter enough. I mean, their
Okay.
daughter is the one who, I didn't speak Japanese at the time. Oh no, by then I was speaking Japanese. Yes, that's true. But by that time the business had grown. I had 120 people working for me. So they had seen the company grow from me in a small bedroom programming to 120 people. So yeah, there was some indication that I actually had a business.
Nice. Um, yeah, kind of similar to you not being fluent in Japanese. You went to the Soviet Union without knowing Russian, without really having any business being there. Um, do you do you credit like your childhood experiences to that kind of ability to do that? Because you did go over talking about how like when you're young, your family moved to New York and you didn't know the language, nobody knew your language. Do you think that had something to do with being able to
I think
get
that
into these bold situations?
sure. I mean, like, in fact, I like being a fish out of water, from time to time. Um, the fact that I was pretty good at speaking English to people who barely spoke English in Japan, because there's so many of them, that when I went to the Soviet Union, I spoke English to those guys. They were all surprised that they could understand me. Like I remember when I went over with Howard Lincoln and Arakawa, the second trip, um, they just weren't like communicating. The Russians were saying something and Howard wasn't getting it. Howard was saying something the Russians weren't. They were trying.
Hmm.
And Americans' way of trying to become understood is speak a little louder, which no, that's not the problem. The problem is you're using words they don't understand. You have to use simple words and pronounce them individually and not too quickly for people to understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
They always thought it was magical, and somehow they thought I knew Russian because several times they tried to catch me by saying something to me in Russian. Be-
Yeah.
because they thought I was understanding what they were saying. And I remember during the negotiation at some point I said, "Stop your arguing, gentlemen. The answer is yes." Like, what? How do you know what we're talking about? So like, hey, we're in that part of the contract. Of course I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I love these details, man. Like just talking about paying for everything in cigarettes, the toilets overflowing at the airport.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
just how different a place that was. But can we talk about you and this video camera? Like that's one of the things that Tetris Forever that blows my mind that you're running around with a video camera everywhere, both in the Soviet Union and even like within like Nintendo of America in the 80s, filming all this stuff. And it's just like it's
So
wild to me because
yeah,
it's not like smartphones now where everyone does it.
yeah, that's right. And yeah, so the deal was, well, first of all, I was supposed to be there as a tourist.
Right?
So having being a tourist without having a video camera or a camera was kind of suspicious, but I had a video camera. And I knew I was going to go on the adventure of my life and I wanted to be able to share it with the people back in Japan. So yeah, I went. I carried that. I didn't do it during the negotiations or anything like that, but I did go sightseeing
Yeah.
in between meetings. So yeah, yeah, I enjoyed that part of it. I guess I'm definitely a photographer. I wasn't a videographer ever. It just takes too much time to do post-processing. Um, but yeah, I wanted to show everybody and yeah, those tapes are gold, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really like surprised to see especially the Nintendo of America footage because nowadays you go to Nintendo of America like you can't take any kind of photos past the front
Did
desk,
I? Did inside Nintendo? I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the footage is in the Tetris Forever documentaries.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the where all the gameplay counselors are in the cubicles and everything.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, 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 yeah. I
And the
remember that.
merchandise, so they had the old merchandise room and stuff there.
Yep, yep, yep. And I remember there was a like a sign up above the guys answering the phone saying how many seconds before somebody got their phone answered.
Mm,
Like average phone time, and it would go up and down depending on how many. They needed to keep it below so many seconds.
right.
It was what an organization. It was like amazing.
Um, and then later on, I remember at one point people had talked as if you had rescued Alexei from the Soviet Union when helping him move to the States. Is that an like accurate description or is that more of like an embellishment?
Um, it's Um, how can I say it's both accurate and an embellishment. Yes, it happened. I mean, I basically he brought him out of the Soviet Union a number of times, sometimes to Japan, sometimes to like CES and so on. So he'd been to the States and Japan. That was a kind of a regular thing. And then we did the same thing for the rest of his family, and then they never went back.
Right.
So it wasn't like we were helping them escape or something like that, but yeah, I mean, it definitely changed their lives. And his son says has said to me, "Thank you so much. You totally changed my life. If I was still in the Soviet Union or in Russia today, oh, what a what a hellhole that's become."
Mhm. And then what was it like when you two finally had the chance to like really like work together and figure out what was next for Tetris?
Yeah, so we've always worked together and we've always butted heads. We're very different. I like rock, he likes classical music. He likes to plan things, I like to adventure. We went on a trip to Europe together, got a Euro pass, and the way we did it is day one, you make a plan and we go where you want us to stay. Day two, I pick a random direction, we go there and we have an adventure. Day three, you plan. Day four, we adventure, and so on. We did all of Europe that way, and it was amazing. It was so fun because he was out of his element for half the time, and I was like, oh, okay, okay. Well, it's nice to have things in place. And when it comes to Tetris, I would say that his background is mathematics and puzzle. So he can handle complications like not being able to see pieces. He
Mhm.
wants to make Tetris on a cylinder where the cylinder spins and half the pieces are on the back of the cylinder. It's kind of, well, to me, is as soon as you hide pieces from the player, then you're making the game too complicated. It's like there's no sport where the ball or the player disappears from time to time.
Right. Yeah, well, I just played Weltris for the first time last weekend, and
Oh, okay.
that was a trip. It was like it's like you go around the corner, and all of a sudden, like your controls shift on you, and
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
interesting project for sure.
Yeah, and I went to something called the Outer Net in London. That's probably a video somewhere recently. It's a space like a giant cube of LEDs, and you're standing at the bottom of it. And then people use their phone to connect. And then so you get seven players with seven pieces floating around, and they go around. The action, the line clearing happens on one side, but you can actually move the piece all the way around to the backside.
Wow.
So it's like you're in. I guess they could have done Welters in that space going, which would have been insane.
Um, and yeah, then like in the late 90s and early 2000s, you guys really kept on top of all of these emerging technologies. You got Tetris on things before they were released, basically, right? So you had the keychain Tetris, and then you had the mobile phones and the App Store,
Yeah.
and the VR, Tetris Effect was there pretty quickly. What was it
Yeah.
like just like keeping an eye on everything that was happening so fast?
No, no, as if it's got a screen and a controller, we put Tetris on it. The story is we sold more Tetris than Nintendo sold Virtual Boy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We made distribution bought 150,000 copies of Tetris and I think 140,000 Virtual Boys.
Wow.
So we outsold Nintendo on that one. Yeah, but I mean, that's the business. We have to find all the wherever screens go. We need to make sure Tetris is there.
Yeah. And what do you like for things like Tetris Effect and Tetris 99? Like, are you surprised to still see people coming up with just these radically new ideas? And then I guess conversely, like what kinds of things don't make the cut?
Um, what things? Okay, first of all, I'm not surprised. You could say pleasantly surprised that you can have a game where 99 players are playing at the same time. That's like, I could barely think of 4 or 6 players. And I did think about like having team play where 7 players play versus 7 players and they have slightly different roles. But I mean, this Tetris 99 it's brilliant and it's ballsy because traditionally if you have a computer game, getting 99 people in a room is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. So they did a lot of heavy lifting there. Um, Things that don't make the cut are things that I don't know, break the rules of Tetris, basically. If somebody, you know, looks at it and says, that's not Tetris, okay, it's probably not in the game then. And anything too complicated, the game, Tetris is a casual game. If you make it too complicated, now you're taking it out of the casual game realm, and then I have a problem, or we have a problem. So yeah, we test every game, make sure that it's playable. We have a guideline that says that you have to be able to do this and this and this and this in Tetris. Um, and we say, look, you can try new things, but if we test it and we don't like it, our testers don't like it, then we're going to reject that feature.
Yeah. And that's basically your role now with Maya's running the company and you guys kind of evaluate and see what comes through and those kinds of things.
Not even. I have a brother who works in the company who does that now.
Okay.
He knows what's Tetris and what's not Tetris. So he makes sure that people follow the guideline. Um, I am looking at newer and different projects. I am looking at, for example, um, somebody has been working on post-traumatic stress syndrome
Hmm.
and how Tetris works there. And that's interesting. So then I would get involved. Somebody wants to do drone Tetris. Well, that's interesting and new. And so I go back into design mode. How can we best use drones to put Tetris in the sky? So, if it comes to doing new and revolutionary things, I'm not afraid to try new things. As a licensee, the way it works is, by the way, if you create a new thing and it really works, that belongs to us. That's that's all your bases are belong to us. Whatever you create. Um,
Yeah.
because we don't want to have a situation where one licensee says to another licensee, "Hey, we invented that. You can't use that in your version." That kind.
Right. Got it.
So that's to prevent that. So anything that anyone's ever created that's an enhancement to Tetris can be used by all future Tetris licensees.
Got it. Well, I'm getting a signal to wrap it up. So thank you so much for joining us. Well, you got one more thing.
I would like to mention that I spend almost no time on the game business now. I'm fighting climate change. I had a
Yeah.
near-death experience. You'll read that in sort of the end of the book. Um, I I know that we're going to fix climate change. We have all the technology, we have the money. All we need is the willpower,
Yeah.
and it's just a decision. And I'm making the decision. If nobody else is going to make the decision, I'll make the decision. The decision is that we're going to fix climate change, and we're going to do so by, I like to say 2045, but if we slip a little and have it be 2050, that's okay too. We are going to do this. And people ask me if I have hope, and I say, no, I do not have hope. I have determination.
Excellent. Yeah, and your determination has definitely made all of this happen. You had so many chances to have lost those Tetris rights, and now you have all of them. So I'm glad to have you working on that. Everybody, read The Perfect Game. Like I said, this is one of the most fascinating stories in the history of video games. You've just, your reputation precedes you, Hank. So many people have said so many good things about you and your honesty and your fairness in dealings and just your warmth. And there's a lot of other details, crazy stories in there with how you met President Yamauchi at Nintendo, the copyright gambit that Tengen made. You invented the NES Max, which I did not know before this book. So yes, everyone, get this book, check it out, get this game history from Hank's perspective. And thank you again, Hank, for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Bloodworth, man, what do you think of that interview?
It was fun. We had to hold it a bit because when we first scheduled it, then we found out, I was like, oh, there's an embargo. But then after the embargo, it's like, well, that's Switch 2 week. And then after that, it's the Shuhei week. So like, okay, we had to hold on to it for a bit. But yeah, it was really, really fun. And glad we got to do that and get that in there.
Yeah. It's actually one of the biggest holes in my video game film watching is the Tetris movie. With
it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
it.
Yeah. We got more to come, but if you've been enjoying this show so far, please take a second to like and subscribe, ring the bell, tell all your friends, shout it from the rooftops. Helps us and it helps you stay connected. Also, if you want to sponsor this podcast and put your name right here in this beautiful space, get in touch. You can email us at info@easyallies.com and we'll get you all the details. It is time now for my impressions of Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree. Loving it.
Nice.
Loving this game. Cozy is the word of the day. The word of every day. This game is so cozy. So it is $40, $40 game. They say there's a lot of content. They say there's like 40 plus hours in this game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of insane. So definitely bigger than I thought it would be. But yeah, I'm playing on console, and it is like a action adventure, like Metroidvania with a little less emphasis on the Metroidvania part.
Yeah.
Like it is a Metroidvania, but like I would say Metroidvania light.
Yeah, I mean, they actually, in the preview, they denied calling it a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a Metroidvania. It's
Yeah.
an action RPG.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, well, I need a grappling hook to go here,
Exactly.
so...
You're still like revisiting areas and getting tools to progress through other areas. So like there is some of that.
A little bit of it. But it's
Yeah.
more on, that action RPG side of, like,
Yeah.
getting weapons and new skills and, kind of, like, building up your character as you go through this world.
Yeah.
And I think they also were saying that, like, there's not as much backtracking as you would expect in a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
So
Fast travel's really generous.
yeah.
But yeah, the premise is you are an inquisitor and you're working for this like king who is clearly sus. Like sus 101 king here. And the king wants you to go track down a witch.
Yeah.
But in the opening cinematic, they have a witch already, which is like this like big bestial type witch. The very opening cinematic, the witch like gives you some powers in its dying breath. It like transfers something to you.
Okay.
So you keep hearing now these like whispers.
Now you hear the whispers of the witch tree.
The titular whispers. And then you're tasked with like going to track down another witch, and that's kind of the, then things go down from there. But I just really like the way it's paced. You create a character as well. There's like 6 different classes.
Yeah.
You can be just like standard warrior or rogue, but then there's like magical abilities as well. You can be like a pyromancer type. I just went standard vanguard right out of the gate. It says you can respec and have hybrid classes as well later on. It's like, don't worry about it. Don't be stressed. You can later on in the game adjust all this stuff.
Well, you need a lot of cash, but even pretty quickly, there's a merchant in one of the first towns where you can pick up items that will allow you to use abilities from a different class, so that you can kind of like mix and match that stuff a little bit. One of the biggest things that your starting class choice kind of matters is it kind of seems to affect the like types of weapons and stuff that drop.
Totally.
So that's what I saw. Like at first when I was playing the preview build, I haven't played the final yet, but when I was playing the preview build, like at first I wasn't really feeling like the twin dagger character as much as I thought I would, and then I tried out the other two that they had, which was the Vanguard and then one of the spellcasters with the big purple beam.
Yeah.
And then like once I adapted to their pace, and then I went back and was like, okay, I feel the daggers a little bit more now. But with the Vanguard, I was just feeling like one of the nice things about it was I was picking up more weapons right away.
Yeah.
Where it took me a little bit longer to get a new weapon with the daggers.
That makes sense. I'm using the one-handed mace is so fun. It just, you feel the hits. I really like the combat. It started a little splashy at first,
Right.
but as I started to just get into it and like feel the push and the pull of the enemies and the rhythms and the speeds and the timings and the rolls and all that, it just really started to grow on me, the combat. Like, it's super fun. More hack and slashy than, a Souls-like or something.
Yeah.
It's not... like, because immediately I was thinking of, like, Tales of Iron. It's, I can kind of compare Tales of Iron in this, because Tales of Iron's not quite a Metroidvania, but it's like an action-adventure.
Right.
But the combat in that is, like, a little more deliberate and precise. Whereas this is like, you're running in, you're mashing them down, you're dodge rolling. So it is just a little more faster and hacker and slasher. Yeah.
But they can, like, you do definitely need to, like, use your parries and rolls and stuff, because they can take you out pretty quickly at the start.
But then learning the enemy attack patterns is also, like, I started to, one example is, like, these big brutes with shields. I just tried to like mash through their shields, but then I realized when they put it down, they're setting up a counterattack.
Right.
So then I started to kind of just like bait them and wait for them to do that, and then I'd roll behind, and then they'd be locked into their block, and then you can just own them from the back.
Yep.
So it's like kind of, there is a level of
They literally showed it right after you said it. Was great.
There is a level of learning the abilities of the enemies, which I thought was not too complex or overwhelming, but just enough to have that growth and strategy as you get deeper into the game.
Yeah, and from my experience too, I was even telling Don this because he was looking to jump into it sometime. I would say that this is a game that's maybe worth replaying that intro a couple of times to see what class you click with.
Okay.
Because just like we were saying with the parry, right?
Yeah.
The parry is specific to the Vanguard. The other characters don't have parries.
Yeah.
So they have different types of abilities and different things that set off. And so, like, with the Double Dagger guy, it's more poison focused. And with the Wizard, it's like you've got that big long distance beam. And those things really do
change it up.
Really do change how you feel about
and the weapons too. Like a two-handed weapon is super slow but intense versus a single one-hander. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. There's also a hub.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love
the
a good
Witch Tree Hub.
The Witch Tree Hub.
Caravan.
Yeah, you find NPCs out in the world. They'll come back to your hub. And, there's like the blacksmith and the tailor and the jeweler, classic stuff. Kind of a Diablo vibe with just the world itself. Kind of that dark gothic
the
fantasy.
menu is very Diablo as well.
Yeah. Crafting and all that, and it's not too overwhelming. At first sight, it does look like a lot. You're like, whoa, the skill tree looks like Path of Exile.
Right.
There's crafting and all this, and it's really well paced out to you as a player.
Yeah.
Because if you choose your Vanguard class, for example, for quite a while, you're only putting skills into that skill tree. So even though there are like 6 or so of these skill trees, you're just focused on the one.
Yeah.
Same with crafting. You level them up slowly to unlock more crafting recipes. So it's really well paced out and easy to pick up and learn, I feel like, despite having quite a lot of complex systems with, crafting in general is just like, and big skill trees is a lot to think about, but it was never really overwhelming.
Right. And sometimes, like this is a game where enemies drop loot, so that's the thing where it's like sometimes you get lucky and it's like, oh, there's a new pseudo armor or a new weapon that I haven't tried out yet, and so that will kind of like save you from having to craft something for a while.
Yep, I hoard my money always, for sure. There's bounties, and I really want to highlight the character portraits.
Yeah, they look
so cool. The voice acting is really solid, really, really solid. But when you talk to someone, just these beautiful animated faces pop up of the character, and it really just helps you get into the story a little more. And it's just like, again, I go back to the pacing and the journey. It's so fun. Like, the missions you're on are just, they're your standard fantasy trope missions. Like, go kill the corruption in the graveyard or under the crypt, right? Like, we've done that 100 times, but the way it's presented and the speed of which it's presented, I think, is just really immersive. It just sucked me in, because I talked to this like guard or whatever, and it's like, yo, I'm gonna let you through here, but you gotta go clear this out for me. And it's like, all right, I'll go clear it out. So then you're on your little mini mission within the larger content.
Well, yeah. Did you do the one I told you about during the preview, the haunted house? Did
Yes.
you go find that? Yeah, that was a nice, right?
So cool. Yeah, they'll surprise you with some of these missions too, because like, yeah, there'll be little interiors you can go in, little buildings or crypts and stuff, little dungeons.
You walk past this thing like 4 or 5 times, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, now I can go inside.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole...
They'll have their own little
basically
mechanics.
a level within the level, yeah.
Yeah.
You came at me prematurely on Tuesday about the map.
I was so mad. I was like, yo, this map is garbage. What is this map? And Blood's like, patience, dude, you gotta find the map guy. You gotta find the map guy, bro. And it's like, oh, there's a map guy. So then I started finding these map fragments, gave them to the map person. They start filling in the map. So yeah, dude, I really like this game. Difficulty-wise, too, super chill for me on normal. Mm-hmm. There isn't really a normal. There's just like a base of like a percent of like enemy health, enemy damage. You can adjust to that anytime you want.
Okay, nice.
So don't be intimidated. If you get to some BS boss fight or something, you can put their health lower, your damage up. There's like little sliders you can adjust anytime you want to make it easier or harder. So full accessibility there. Yeah. Sick. That's it. This is my number one game now till completion. I'm literally not playing anything else. And Blueprints, obviously, of course. But like, I will be juggling this and Blueprints now exclusively for the next however long it takes me to beat this.
Well, you do have another thing that's on your backlog, one way or another.
It's got its hooks in me, man.
Yeah.
Mandragora is sick. I recommend it if you like these kind of games at all. That dude
looks great.
Yeah. So fun. Love it.
Big shovel guy.
And and just a new IP. Here we go. Brand new. Like, right? There's no other like Mandragora Zero. Yeah, exactly. So super duper cool. Glad it's here. Hopefully the start of something, Mandragora. I'm a fan. All right, which brings us to Damiani Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition.
Been grinding on this for a few weeks.
Yeah. I like how you said Xenoblade.
You got me on this. You got me on it now. I'm copying you.
Sounded like a content creator. No, I'm just joking. Oh, man. Yes. I'm out like 40 something hours into this game. And we're gonna have a little wild swing real quick.
Yeah.
First, I gotta say, I've not unlocked the skells or the mechs yet. I've not played as those yet. I looked it up. It's the next chapter, but like this game does not force you to play the story. You can, this is where the swing up is right here, because there's only 2 developers who make games that like make me feel the bliss of like tense exploration.
Wayland Yutani.
Wayland Yutani, yes. Wayland Yutani is one.
He just pulled a random... What company comes to mind?
The company TM, Gabby.
Tense exploration.
Talking about game developers.
David. Yeah, let's get David on here. The Monolith Soft, the two softs, Monolith Soft, From Soft.
Two softs. You're so right.
Like, obviously, the combat for those two games are wildly different and have like wildly varying opinions on whether they're good or not. But for me, that's like secondary. Even the narrative, which you think like Xenoblade games, like people love talking about these stories and the crazy ways they connect and how maybe X connects to the other ones, if that's even possible. It's like, to me, those both take a back seat to just the world that they've created in this game. Now, this is unlike the other three Xenoblade games, including 3, the most recent new one that was released. This is seamless open world.
Nice.
There are no zones. Everything is interconnected, and I still don't know this. I mean, it didn't look as good, but it ran on Wii U. Now that I played so much of this game and seen the full scale of this game, I'm like, how is this game even running on Switch?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like not like high end technical, like it's not like the models are gonna blow you away, but like what they're just getting to run on the Switch. Like I thought, Tears of the Kingdom is probably a little bit more impressive because you got like the traveling between the sky, surface, and the ground. But like you can see like, oh, this was the first steps into where we got with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Like, because Monolith Soft helped with that open world tech to make those two games a reality. This is the DNA. This is where it came from. And it's like been very eye-opening to see how impressive this world they've crafted together. And I think even without like having the ability to like fall from a sky in Tears of the Kingdom, like this is insane. Like even like the verticality of some of the zones. It's like, because you're going to get a scale. I'm going to
you can
travel
fly over
fast
everything.
And fly. It will eventually be there. So it's like
Chopper in GTA. You're just like,
actually, yes, I am so happy I don't have it unlocked, and I've seen so much of the world without it, or I've tried to see. Because to go back to my original statement about why I love this game, like these games so much, that tense exploration, is because it like I said, that blissful feeling of seeing where I can go, what I can get away with. Can I get up there? Was I intended to get up there? That joy I get from being able to traverse. And I love the tense part of it comes from not just the platforming finesse, because this is platforming. This game is floaty. If you've ever played a Xenoblade game before, you like when you jump, you float for like days. Yeah. And when you spin, it's like you're Superman leaping and bounding on Earth, or if you're on the moon, it's like you're on the moon and you're jumping around on the moon in this game, and it's fun, but it makes platforming very imprecise, and I think it's definitely on purpose. Just like in FromSoft games, the platforming is there, but it's also jank as shit. But like that's the intent. You know what you're getting into. And so you have these systems that you're like working within, and it's despite that, it just feels good to like try and see what we can get with the platforming, but also the threat of putting high level mobs that like you gotta try and sneak past. Like Monolith Soft and FromSoft do that. It's like, dude, there's some giant ass boss in a FromSoft game just in the middle of the world, in Elden Ring. Like, I want to get around this. Let's see if I can like break their line of sight, long enough. Like, will I be able to like sneak? And this is more like close, claustrophobic feeling, because there's some parts where it's like dense and you are like forced like through a cave, or there's like dense jungle and like you're kind of like have to go forward here. I don't see a way over, and like the thing is, there always is another way. You just haven't seen it yet. Like this game is insane at disguising alternate paths in like hidden routes that like maybe aren't so hidden. But yeah, just coming across giant monstrosities that are like, say, numbers at like in the 90s. And you're like, wait, what? I'm level 10. Why level 90 shit? Their numbers there's like red's usually bad. Xenoblade has purple, which is like really effing bad. It's like there's a level beyond red. That's like, yeah, you're really bad. Screwed. Don't even try running past this thing. And like the best thing I can highlight is there's just like one zone very far into like the north. That's like one of the end game regions, I'm guessing. And it's like this like lava filled crater hellscape with these like giant raging inferno monsters and all these like mech monsters, like just with gun turrets just aimed at you from all over. There's like a gauntlet of them, and it's a narrow path. I can't find any other way without like having like the ability to fly in one of the mechs. It's just like a gauntlet of like anti-machine, like anti-airship, anti-like personnel rocket ships and rocket towers that just like like lock onto immediately from like a million miles away, and I'm trying to run through this gauntlet just like I just want to see what's past here. Spent like an hour, like I like tried to cheese my way up a mountain. I'm like, okay, I'm like line of sight with, they can't even see me. Nope. This game doesn't give a shit if you're behind like a solid mountain. If an enemy locks on you and it fires, it goes through everything and it hits you. They're like, nope, we got you. You can't get away with this.
Target acquired.
And like I was like, it's just fun to like do that. And like I know when I get the Skell and I'm able to like use the mech and travel around, there's places I cannot even get to yet. There's the jungle area like in the northwest has this tall ass waterfall. And there's like a giant area up there. I mean, it looks like, you know, it looks a little bit like Pandora. It's like, how am I going to get up there? It looks so amazing. It's like, okay, I tried everything. I even like think I got into a spot I wasn't supposed to get to. And I was like, yeah, I can't make that. They also have like these giant chasms. You just can't, there's no way you're going to be able to jump across them. And there's stuff in the middle. The map says like there are these floating islands. How do I even get to those? You're going to need that. So I do like how they dangle just enough that's out of your reach, but doesn't feel like bullshit. It's like there's so much to see and do. So like that's just the exploration part of this game. And as I say, I just love getting one of these games every few years and bouncing between them because no other games really do like what these two do, and especially like Xenoblade. Like it's just like I like when I start one up, I'm like, man, how long is this gonna be? 100+ hours, and then you just start losing time. Like I just want to see this, I just want to see that, and this game has towers. They're like sites where you place these, like you drill into the ground and place like a beacon, and it will show you, it's all like hexagonal grid, the map, and it'll like unlock all the ones next to it, adjacent to it, and show you like what is like, there's like a primary objective in each, either like putting down like a site beacon, there's like a rare mob in one, maybe there's a bunch of treasure chests, like artifacts you gotta like collect in there. There's like one that's like locked out right now that I'm assuming, you know, it's story locked or I need the mech for it. But there's just that for like in terms of like exploration, and as I said, lots of secrets.
New
you
Los
get rewarded
Angeles
with experience.
So cozy.
There's so much to this game, man. You have a hub. It's like a giant city, Huber. It's it's based off of Los Angeles. They have like a commercial district, a residential district. You can't go into every building, but like you can walk the streets. It's kind of like. Feels a little bit like Grand Theft Auto 3-esque, where it's like I'm running past all these structures. I can't go into them. It's like kind of sick that they have it around, but like there are a ton of NPCs. And this game, it dumps a lot on you. I'll say this. I'm not sure how you feel if you've ever played one of these games before, but to me, X dumps the most amount of shit onto you, like a little too
visually
fast.
Noisy.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in the HUD. I'm a little annoyed I can't customize the HUD. I was like looking for like UI adjustments, and they didn't have that. There's just like menus upon menus of instructions and details. There's a thing about a mechanic in the battle system where when you might have seen it, where a little like ring appears. It's been in like almost all of them, where like you gotta hit, it's like a QTE thing where you gotta hit the like ring at the right time, and it activates like a bonus for you. It's like the soul voice.
QTE,
there's like a whole menu about saying when those trigger, and they're like it's like, wait, what? I can customize how these even work, and like that's on top of like your gear. You got gear, which you can enhance your gear. You got your arts, your special abilities, like your cooldown abilities. You can enhance all those. You got passive abilities and your skill system that you can do. You've got classes in this game and advanced classes. Like there is a lot here in terms of like the RPG of this game. And then there's like shops, economies, so many different economies. Like those beacons, you can choose what they do, whether they're mining, whether they're like boosting your combat abilities, whether they're researching to help you develop new like weapons and gears. And there's all these like shops and companies you can like spend currency on to have them do further research. And yeah, I haven't even gotten into the mech stuff yet, and that has a whole like half the systems are for like the mechs, and I'm like, oh my god, like there's like, there's a lot. But I will say this, it seems overwhelming. And for those who want that level of like RPG, it's certainly there. And I can't say for sure whether I think it's good or bad because I'm kind of neglecting a lot of it. Like I'm getting by just fine upgrading my arts, upgrading my gear, and upgrading my skills whenever I can, and locking in on like one job. would say I don't think the combat system is great. It's derivative of 1's battle system, which had like it's always been like the same. Like the cooldowns have like a little like exclamation mark, which says like, oh, you've met the condition, whether it's like a positional, whether like some actions you need to have like aggro for them to like proc their like, they have like a extra benefit to them, but it's all a cooldown system. They added some like quality of life stuff. I don't remember if it was in the original because I didn't play enough of the original, but like if you use a cooldown ability and let's say it's got like 40 seconds, you have this meter where you can like burn it to like reset the cooldown immediately. So like you can keep doing that, but like it like only fills up slowly over time. So like you got to be careful with it. It's serviceable and it's fine. But I will say, like, even though I was like ripping my hair out at how Nintendo tried to teach me it originally, I still think 2 and 3's battle systems are better than what I'm playing in here and more engaging once they actually click. Like the Ouroboros, I mean, obviously I haven't done the mech combat yet. I don't know how good or bad that's going to feel, but like the Ouroboros system in 3, like having that to like switch into like that, like, you pick a partner, you combine together, you have like a mech form, and then like the chain combos, the whole cutscene with the music and stuff and the fun thing with that. And then like 2's system with those like, the diamond things and like, triggering those and then flipping between them. I forget the name for all of it, but like when it finally clicked, it was amazing. And I think this is definitely a step above 1's battle system. But like, I'm not wowed by like, it's like the least interesting part of the game for me is kind of like the combat system right now. It also is the interface, man, you need like a mouse and keyboard or some shit. Like they gotta like, trying to,
baby.
There we go.
Switch
move, maybe Switch 2. You can move around the individual skills and place them. It's like 4 on the left, 4 on the right, and then you get like an overdrive thing in the middle. That's like your overdrive action, a special ability. But like you can rearrange where those appear, but having to use like the damn D-pad to cycle through them manually, like when the window to use some of them when they like have the exclamation mark, sometimes it's pretty short. It's like, oh my God, like they just need a better control interface for that. It's just not, it's a little archaic and dated. Yeah, like I there's so many games that have found a way to implement. I mean, even their newer ones have found a better way to do it than what this does. It just feels dated, and I really wish they like with this they would take an opportunity with this version to maybe do a little bit more with the combat system. Now, obviously, I saw how much quality of life they've done in this game to make this a little bit more user-friendly. It used to be way worse for a lot of the stuff they did in this game. For example, changing out party members. You have a party of 4. You always have to be in your party, but your 3 companions, you can choose who you want almost any time. And there are missions to unlock more party members as long as you meet certain requirements. You used to have to go back to like the barracks back in the new LA and do it there. Now you can just do it from a menu at like any point you're like out of combat.
Okay,
and it's like, oh, thank goodness. Like I was like, oh man, if I had to do that, that would have sucked. It's like that would have been bad. And the music, this music, like Xenoblade's music goes hard, but like, damn, this is a good soundtrack too. And I mean, I never get tired of Black Tar. The other one that plays when you fight like hunt marks, like a little bit more serious fights. It goes hard. And I mean, I don't know if you have any other questions, like if you think you've seen something that maybe like raises like a red flag or just want to know a little bit more about.
I mean, getting any game off of the Wii U is a dramatic win for society.
The whole series is on Switch now. Yeah,
I'm kind of dread going. I mean, I'm sure it looked like great for its time. I can't fully. I mean, I remember being, wow, this is seamless overall. That's kind of cool. I don't know how good like the Wii U version looks now and compared. I haven't seen like a side by side in a while, but even though it's only running like around like 30 but like frames, I'm sure maybe with like Switch 2 they can bump it up to maybe a little bit higher.
Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Mouse Edition.
Right. Definitive Mouse Edition. Last thing I will say real quick is the narrative. I won't spend much time on this. I'm not going to spoil anything. I myself just got to the first twist, which I guess is not really a twist to a lot of people, but like chapter 5. I just finished chapter 5 and got like, oh, I kind of knew about this already, but because it is more structured, it's less traditional, like a traditional Xenoblade game. It really wants you to go out and do whatever you want. So it's a little bit more like MMO in that regards, where there's a lot of like green normal quest. There's like a hub environment where you can like go to a terminal and do like basic quests. There are affinity quests, which are the unlock new party members and then improve your reputation with them. There are a whole bunch of different types of quests you can do, and then the main scenario quest, which are the story chapters. And as I said, I am like almost 40 hours and I've only done 5 story chapters because you can spend so much time. But the structure and the narrative of them, because it's less, I feel like, cohesive and directed like a normal Xenoblade game is, I feel like I'm just kind of like I'm too far away from the story for too long, I feel like. And
Open
I don't know if there's a better way.
storytelling woes.
Yeah, it's intriguing, but it also... the characters, I'm not really liking the character storylines. Whereas like 3, I loved everything about those, like the hero quest or whatever they were called, where you got to know more about the characters. The affinity quests, I don't think are as strong as what I've seen in the other games with the character development. And so I'm not really gelling with the characters as much. In fact, they feel like a little too derivative of other characters I've already seen. Now I get it, X came out before some of the other games, but it's just the order I play them in. And honestly, there's a lot going on that like I'm not like fully like drawn in just yet. So obviously,
I think that's one of the things with me, Damiani, is that like I started this and and it's not really that I didn't like it or didn't want to play it, but it wasn't pulling me in that same way. Like you're saying, it's where like I just felt a little bit more bland in terms of like the characters and all of that, more than anything.
Yeah, it's definitely more like it has a more MMO-y feel than the other ones, I would say. So if you're used to like quest specific storylines and like that's going to be your more moment to moment like context for what you're mostly doing. I mean, I guess you could stick to the story, but like because I've been doing so much exploration and extracurricular stuff, there are like restrictions you have to fulfill before you can take on a new story chapter. And I just haven't bumped into any of those. So I don't know if you just want to like beeline it through the story, you might have some more of a problem being gated. I'm not sure if that's really a problem or not. I can't speak to it. But as long as that's not a problem, I guess you could just stay very story focused and stick to that. But I feel like you're going to miss out on a lot, though, of what this game's like real draw is, which is its world and the sense of exploration, like which exceeds this easily beats out any of the other 3 entries in terms of like exploration. It just like goes beyond. It's like the only games that can be mentioned in the same breath of these is Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It's like from Nintendo's perspective. If you want something that is like more akin to that level of exploration and seamless integration, this is your game for you. It's just whether or not. I feel like Zelda's overwhelming, those two, but this is way more overwhelming than Zelda. Even with like gear durability and stuff like that, this is much more intense with all its different systems, for sure.
Yeah.
Sick. I'm glad it's off of Wii U and into the hands of how many Switches? 150 million players?
Yeah.
Something like that. So... very cool. This franchise doesn't seem like it's going anywhere anytime soon, Damiani.
Yeah. Although we are looking forward to whatever the other Monolith Soft game is that they've got going.
Yeah, like exactly. I'm so looking forward to whatever they announce for that, because they are just like, as I said, masters of crafting like worlds to just lose yourself in. And
exploring in video game is one of
them and FromSoft.
reasons
Best
we
of
play.
the biz. Yeah.
It's like one of the main reasons we play games, like stories, exploration, puzzles, cool combat. Exploration, man, a founding pillar. Alrighty. Hyped. Also this week, take us away, Daniel Bloodworth.
Bad news. PS5 console prices increased throughout much of the world. They haven't gotten to North America yet, but they can't be too far behind.
Why?
I wonder
why.
Yeah, they have to figure out how much to raise the price.
Thanks, world, for subsidizing us for getting to keeping our price the same.
But yeah, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Middle East, Africa, all got price raises. The increase varies country by country, even which versions of the system varies country by country. So in Europe, only the digital edition is going up in price, going from 450 euros to 500.
Jesus.
Whereas in Australia, the disc version is going up by 30 Australian dollars to 830, and the digital version is going up 100 to 750 Australian dollars.
Shit.
Interestingly enough, though, the disk drive, the attachment disk drive, is going down. So, for example, in
Probably
Europe,
have a lot of them.
it's going from 120 euros to 80.
Got it.
So
They're probably overstocked.
But it's like when you see like the differences, it's like it really. I think it kind of shows you that like that $100 gap between the digital and the physical is like, yeah, that was not because of the disk drive. Like it was just they could charge more, right? And now it's like, okay, well, the digital is what's getting the higher bump in price raise.
Yeah.
So. So we will see.
Drop the price
when it gets to the hard direction. That's the crazy thing, right? We're like 4.5, almost 5 years into this generation,
and it's going up.
And it's going up instead of down.
Insane,
It's gonna
dude.
keep going up.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Oh Jesus.
We did get a special announcement for Dawn, though. New pinball table from Stern, King Kong,
Dude.
Myth of Terror Island.
Here we go.
What?
Here we go. Yeah, Stern keeps it going, man.
This
One after the other.
machine,
Just,
dude.
rolling out the licensed hits and seemingly doing it right. You see, they went with the cartoon sort of version of King Kong in this, which is awesome because they did this most recently with Godzilla on the Godzilla tables. And Huber now.
Dude, Godzilla
side
versus
by
Kong
side.
versus
There it is.
Predator.
There it is. There it is. Side
Yes.
by side. Just stack these tables up next to each other.
Yes.
Yeah, and everything on the table looks fun. I mean, it looks like a nice layout, fun little loop ramps and everything. He's got the airplane, the mechanical Kong back there. At some point here, he smashes like, I don't know, is it a subway or a train car or something?
Yeah, it's a train car.
Yeah, so right there. There it is, you know. So
Dude, it smashes the ball. It's so
a lot
sick.
of cool mechanical trinkets to play with, you know, and of course
Dang.
you can tell they've got the Stern Insider connected, you know, which allows you continuous sort of downloadable content, and obviously they haven't announced what that's going to be yet, but you saw it's in action there. So yeah, it's awesome. A little spider, the creepy little spider right
You're the spider that grabs the ball.
That one kind of freaked me out. I'm like, man, I'm going to have to deal with this spider constantly. It's kind of nasty, but you know, other than that, this looks fun, man.
Dawn, dude,
It
Stern
looks,
is
and
the-
I love the purple kind of color throughout.
Yeah.
Also, that's kind of like the new Empire sort of look, you know, Kong versus Godzilla, New Empire and stuff.
The Stern, just
Yeah.
look, man. These machines just look incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art style's nice
That's
on them.
insane.
They just keep doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this one to me, like, what's nice about this one is it feels like a very old school vibe, right? Like, they really went all in on that, so that like, you know, you feel like it could be an older table that you just haven't seen before, but then you've got some of that, like, man, the phone stuff too.
Yeah, no, they're just riding that balance really well between making them feel like super classic because they're still really mechanical components, you know, just throughout, and like sort of old school features that are just functioning really well. But then you've got all the modern stuff in there, like right there, the inside connected. And
Don, is
everything.
there a pinball joint that gets new pinball releases like this in their
yes.
store, in their place?
Oh yeah, I mean the places I go, they're
Yeah.
everywhere. Well, that's
They'll
the other
have
thing
this?
about this Stern Inside Connected. Let me tell you, you're looking.
Yeah.
That's one of the features they have, and it's free to sign up. So just go online to Stern, you sign up, and you can find out the closest place to you, which will have a specific
Yeah,
table.
you can
So
search
that's
and
an
buy
awesome
table.
thing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there's two
Yeah.
places I go to. Player One up in the valley. Remember where we went to?
Yeah.
Let's get some new Stern tables there.
Cool.
And then there's this cool little noodle place, Ace Gogi, and they've got a secret pinball place in the back. You walk
Back
through the
alley
kitchen.
pinball, dude.
You walk from the restaurant through the kitchen, and you get to a pinball arcade in the back. I'm not kidding. And they've like
So sick.
state of the art, dude. New avatar, every new pin.
Dude.
it's
Pinball
gonna be there,
speakeasy for
so-
Don.
Hell yeah.
baby. It's alive and well.
Do they have gambling back there too?
Looking good. Well, you know, just show up, Huber. You know, I don't
Okay.
want to get anyone in trouble.
This is excellent.
They have gambling everywhere where someone will keep it quiet. So yeah, but
Yeah, so Stern doing it right, man. I'm pumped. Can't wait to get my hands on this sucker.
Yeah, this looks sick.
Yeah.
and then Huber, for you,
Yeah, dude.
you just checked this out before while we're getting ready.
Yeah, looks good.
Bloober Team's next game.
Blooba.
Chronos: The New Dawn.
Blooba.
This one is giving me Dead Space vibes. You called out Callisto.
Callisto Protocol energy for sure.
Yeah, so their big tagline in this is "Stop the Merge."
10 out of 10 mechanics.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like Callisto Protocol, right? Didn't they didn't the enemies in that venom up? You know, they got all stronger.
I feel like
shit.
there's something to that, but I don't remember the exact mechanic.
They roided out.
But yeah, so it says down enemies don't stay dead for long if you don't burn their bodies. The fallen monsters can be absorbed by other enemies, which allows them to evolve into faster, stronger, more resilient, and more horrifying abominations.
It looks fucking awesome, dude.
Getting additional abilities and all that stuff.
Yeah. I wonder if it'll be like a resource as well, like Resident Evil matches or
Oh, Evil Within,
Fuel.
the matches? Yeah.
fuel and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm curious. The other thing that I didn't pick up on from watching the trailer, but now like rewatching it, I'm starting to see is this takes place in 2 time periods here. So you've got this post-apocalyptic future,
Before Jessica and after Jessica.
and you have 1980s Poland.
Got it.
So you actually dive back in time to extract key people before they die in the
Jessica
apocalypse.
is one of those people for
So
sure.
real Terminator vibes.
Yeah.
going there.
Hell yeah.
Extract them before they die.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I'm excited. Hell yeah. Third person survival horror energy with like a cool sci-fi apocalypse twist.
Yeah.
Sign me up. And Bloober, hot off Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
Ride that
I think
momentum.
people are definitely expecting more from them. Obviously, it's had to be a separate team to some
Definitely.
degree for those to come out so quickly. Because this is this year, coming this year to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm in. Mega in, dude. Easy in.
And then Xbox had a little blog post this week. They announced that the Stream Your Own Game for their cloud streaming is now available on Xbox consoles. Basically the way the cloud streaming worked before was like it was just Game Pass games.
Yeah.
And so now, kind of like with the backwards compatibility, they've been making more games work on cloud streaming if you own the game. So it's like stuff that's in your library, you can actually stream it from the cloud. Obviously, it's a much bigger endeavor because there's thousands of games.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to have servers that can run those. So, but yeah, so you can now that you can actually do that now on an Xbox, so you can just play the game without downloading it.
Nice.
And then
We love that.
Yeah.
Xbox always does like just cool little shit.
And so like, some of the ones they announced that are new to the program this week too are some of the newer games, including Wander Stop, Squirrel with a Gun, and Lost Records.
Nice.
And then similarly in that same blog post, they outlined that remote play, which is different. That remote play allows you to play stuff that's installed on your console from another device. That is now available on basically anything via a web browser.
Nice.
So you just go to xbox.com/remote play, and you can play stuff that's installed on your Xbox.
That's great.
So
This is good.
fun stuff.
Good job, Xbox. Now it's time for love and respect. Love and
Respect.
From DJ Bobcat. Howdy, allies. Given you guys have crossed 9 years. I've been looking back at how far you all have come, even since the game trailers days. Over the years, there are some videos of yours that I go back to every once in a while to relive the moments I was so excited about. It's very much a time capsule that rewinds me back to where I was at that time in my life. I have 2 absolute favorites. The first is seeing Huber react to Shenmue 3 at the E3 of Dreams, where they also re-revealed The Last Guardian. Huber hype.
And Final Fantasy VII remake.
And Final
at
Fantasy
that.
VII remake, exactly. Huber hype has never been higher. Yeah, it's Shenmue, dude. Come on. Cannot top that, dude. Shenmue 4. Never give up. Never surrender. The second is the reveal of the Switch, and specifically Super Mario Odyssey, where it showed Mario running around in a city and seeing the shock and pure joy on all your faces, coupled with Bossman yelling, "It's a dream come true." My question to you is, what moments do you guys revisit in video form on your own channel every so often?
Yeah, so I had a couple that came to mind, but the ones that came to my mind were actually from Game Trailers days. Is the backtrack stuff.
Love backtrack.
I really loved crafting those things, and I love how they came together. So it's just like it's a great to rewatch. If you're not familiar with what that even means, it's a series I did on music in video games, and because of the nature of like having to put a bunch of episodes together, they're like multiple formats. But the ones that I really enjoyed doing were the ones where I actually sat down and talked to the composers, and then went through and found like those specific bits of music that they're talking about, and the specific scenes where they were describing that stuff. And the funny thing is, like in some of those cases, like, oh, this scene is shorter than the amount of time they talked about it, so that's challenging. But it's really great. And then I did a sort of a similar one. We didn't do as much like production and cut down on it, but I did an interview with Gareth Coker for Ori Will of the Wisps.
Yeah.
And the Will of the Wisps a couple years ago. So, and then the other one I go back to once in a while because somebody will remind me about it, and I show it to them, and I start watching it myself. Was Bloodworth's first RPG.
Sick.
Where I go over the Legacy of the Ancients.
Hell
and
yeah,
have all
dude,
that
that's
footage
one of
and
the
everything
best
there from
too.
the Commodore 64.
Love that one.
Because again, it's my first RPG, and second, nobody else has ever heard of that game. I never hear anyone else bring that game up.
Nope.
It just happened to be the thing that got me into that genre.
You are seriously the only one. It's so sick. I don't know. I am always just drowning in games and movies and TV, so I don't really go back and watch any
Yeah,
of our
rewatching
stuff.
your own
Yeah.
stuff is definitely
I've
not,
got
a
too much.
like even then when people quote the things from reactions, like
Yeah.
you know that way better than we do.
Yeah.
Where you've not seen those reactions for 8 years.
I have so much. I will randomly go back to the odd level from game trailers. That's probably
Nice.
the only thing, because they're always like 3, 4, 5 minutes, and they're just fucking awesome. I love that show. It's so cool.
Damiani.
I like going back every now and then and watching me making Yoshi P say nightmare on camera.
Of course. Amazing.
Sick. All right. From Mistwalker. Dude, shout out to Blade. Shout out Damiani.
Blade, like Blade?
Daywalker. Mistwalker always reminds me of Daywalker.
Okay, sorry. I was like, I
Yeah.
thought the question was about Blade. I'm like, oh,
What's
shit.
funny is this is already a play on words, and then Huber's associating it to something even further because it's mist, like mist with a Y, and then Walker separately, but it's also a play on Mistwalker, the Sakaguchi
Hell yeah.
RPG company.
I'm just thinking of the Daywalker.
Sakaguchi.
Hello, allies. Physical or digital?
Oh, boy.
As someone who has grown up with video games, physical has always seemed like a no-brainer to me. I'm going to stop you right there, and I'm going to give a shout-out to the one, the only, the legend, Grunbaum. Physical media till death, that man.
Nice.
He will never get a digital game, ever, no matter what. Physical forever. Actually owning your games, for the most part. Being able to let friends borrow them when you finish it so they can try. And probably the biggest reason, in my opinion, for owning games physically, the cost. If I'm going to be spending between $60 and $90 for a video game, I want to actually have it in case the game goes offline and can only be played physically. If I can avoid getting a game digitally, I will, especially if it's available from limited run. What are some of the allies' opinions on physical versus digital?
Give a.
I'll go for it, Damiani.
I was going to say, since I can see chat, they want to know the thoughts on Fortnite. How do you physically own Fortnite?
Oh, I mean, it's that's
Yeah,
obviously
true.
there's
Yeah.
no physical, so that's
Okay.
the one.
Well, I mean, there is
obviously.
physical, but yeah, it doesn't do you much good if you're not connected.
Yeah, I don't know if he has a box for that, but something like every game like Assassin's Creed or MLB The Show or whatever it may be that he gets, gotta go physical. I feel like It is bullshit, dude. Like, digital should be $5 fucking cheaper than physical. It is garbage.
Well, that's one of the
It
things.
is actual garbage.
It should be $10 cheaper.
Dude,
But
yeah.
that's
like,
one of the things that came up with the Switch pricing in Europe. The part of the like weird misinformation is because, well, they didn't communicate the pricing, and it's like you had to find out on your own kind of thing. But in Europe, the Switch 2 is doing that, where the physical costs more than the digital. But the thing is, because the cost is so high, now people are not really in favor. It's like, you want it? Well, how much? What?
So instead of lowering the digital price, they're raising the physical price. Is what you're saying?
Essentially,
Yeah,
is basically what it comes
bullshit.
down to. But yeah, so with me, I think this is one of those hard things where it's like, my heart is with physical. I want physical games to be there. I want them to always be available. But then, like, my head and my practicality, digital, it's like, if I want to play a game, then I just go and I download it, and I don't even think about it, really.
That's one
like,
of the best parts, for sure.
It's like, unless, like, I am specifically, like, somebody gave me a Walmart gift card, and I'm looking around, it's like, oh, yeah, there we go. Like, that's $10 cheaper than if I bought it online, then most of the time lately I'm not really getting a whole lot of physical games. There are times when I will think about, like, something that I like really, really, think I'm going to, enjoy, that like a Zelda or Mario or something like that. But even like I did that with, I think, Mario Kart, and it was like, I probably should have just had this on the system so I don't have to like keep popping the cartridge in and out kind of thing, right? So it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of controversy about the Switch 2 game key cards because they basically don't have anything on them other than a license to download the game. But it's this interesting in between, because with the game key card, it's not tied to your account.
Yeah.
So you can borrow my game and you can sell the game to somebody else because the license is tied to that physical object, even though it doesn't have anything else on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also weird, like Death Stranding 2 Collector's Edition doesn't come with the game or like the physical game. It's like a download code.
Right.
And it's like, come on.
Yeah, when you're
dude, the
doing
people
that, when you're going that far out, like, yeah just give a disc.
Yeah.
Come
What
on.
the hell? Or like when you buy discs now and it's like, oh, you have to download the game still. Like, that's super annoying.
Yeah. I think with the collector's edition, the one thing I can see as to why that happens is just logistics. They produce a limited number of those things. They've got to produce them a lot further in advance. And so it's easier for them to do that and to have a code.
Get it all ready to go.
Yeah.
before
Otherwise, they just have a bunch of those collector's editions sitting in a warehouse waiting for the discs to get printed.
Good perspective, I suppose.
Yeah.
Bloodworth. Very level-headed response.
Yeah, I mean, it's not what I want to see, but I understand why it happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What do you think, Damiani? You a physical or digital man?
I mean, I've been moving towards digital for a while just because I want like less physical stuff. Like, because I've had, hauling around a game collection.
That's true.
Is kind of a pain in the ass,
Sure
honestly.
is. Yeah.
And like, I get it. I mean, I want the perfect world. I want like to have a digital and I completely own the damn thing. And like, I should be able to go to any version of it that there's ever had. Like, so if they ever patch a game, I should be able to like roll back patches, reapply patches. Like, but we don't live in that world, unfortunately. So if it is something where I am legitimately concerned about that, and or I want to like have access to that level, of the control over the versions or what is like on the original version, I will go out and get a physical version of that. But in general, for like 99% of the games I play, digital suffices. It's like, I understand like one day they could like flip a switch and that's like off. Well, when we get to that point, maybe that'll be enough to get people to get out of their seats and actually scream a little bit louder about things are bad. But until then, it's like the games I care about where I'd be annoyed about that. I own like 10 different versions. Like there's certain like Zelda games, I own like 5 different copies of like different versions of them, and it's like you could be like that. Like there is the way to do it. It just like costs a lot. You got to hold on to them. And honestly, the amount of times like you really go back to any of that stuff isn't that terribly much. I think it's just, it would be nice if there was this like, it's good, and hopefully they keep the community places that can preserve a lot of that stuff, especially the more mainstream things, so that like we don't get into a place where digital is like, does anyone even remember there was a version of this game originally that had like this music track on it, but like all current versions, they scrubbed that track out. It's like, it's not in there anymore. So it's like, yeah, you're not playing the version of the game that everyone like. Why did everyone love Crazy Taxi? Oh, like it was like a unique concept.
I've got that Dreamcast
great
version.
arcadey controls, and that damn song. It's like one song. It's like a trashy song in there now. I'm like, that's not the real song. It's fake. So it's like you like that type of shit where it's like, but I mean, it's also, to me, it's also going to become a increasingly uphill battle for stuff like that. The longer it goes on where that version without it exists, then the version that had it exist, like you're just going to be relegated to some obscure YouTube video that's popular for like a day or a week. They're like, oh, you remember that cool thing? And like everyone forgets about it a week later. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that reminded me too, Damiani, of the other big problem is, like, you want at least some physical versions to be made when they can be, because of stuff like delisting, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, if you want to buy basically any Forza game that's not Forza Horizon 5
Spider-Man
or the
2.
current Forza Motorsport, you have to get a physical copy. It's been completely removed from the stores. All of those
Simpsons,
other games,
X-Men, all that stuff, like going in and out of Scott Pilgrim, delisted for so long.
Yeah, thankfully some of those have gotten some physical versions. But yeah, it's like, you have to find those games used now to buy them at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I wish that could be remedied more easily. I just think if you're not already like pretty hardcore into Forza already, your demand for wanting to have access to those older installments is, I see why it's not like as big of a priority. I think as long as some copies exist, like there were some physical, or someone has a way for you to play it somehow. Yeah. Like it might not be, you might have to like travel to a library in another state or through other means, but I get more concerned when like something's trying like to actively be like deleted from existence. It's like, oh, there's like no way to play this. Like no one backed it up. Doesn't like they pulled the plug so fast that like online games, I guess, are the ones like persistent online games are the ones I am more bummed out about than like. You can go find every version of Horizon if you're really determined enough right now. Like just because you can't go in a store and buy it, you can find all those copies. You can play Horizon somehow. They're like, it's not as hard to say, I want to go back and play 1.0 Final Fantasy 14. That's like impossible.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even think there's private servers that even have the game running on that, like in the most dark corners of the web. It's like that, like one's just like impossible. Just, you can't do it. The other is, it might costs a little bit extra money and a little bit extra time, but like you can actually do it.
You go on the dark web not to hire a hitman, but to play 1.0 Final Fantasy.
That's where you're going, man. Can you imagine that interaction? It's like, what are you looking for, my man? It's like all the code words come up and you're like, Vanilla 14. He's like, what the hell is that? Like, I haven't heard of that. What is that? Like some kind of, what country you get that from? He's like, no. Like it's a video game. Like, you came here for a video game? What? Get out of here! You're wasting my time.
Any takes in there, Don or Gabby? Physical, digital?
Yeah, for me, it's funny. I had such a weird revelation earlier. I think at the beginning of this year, I always think of myself as like, yeah, physical. I've always been like committed to physical and everything. I love having a collection you can go through, going back to them to pop them in. I really like that stuff. But obviously, yeah, ease of purchase, convenience, and not weighing you down, and so many other things. Anyway, my friend just got a PS5 for the first time earlier this year, and I was like, "Oh, dude, there's so many good games you got to check out. I'm gonna lend you all these games." And I was like, "Yeah, I've got a good collection, And I went through my stuff, and I realized I literally had I have one game on PS5 that's physical. And it was such a depressing. I didn't even realize how deep in it I was.
That's essentially how it was with me.
From PS4 to 5 for sure. I have so many PS4 games.
Because PS4 is like half and half. I still have a bunch of them, but completely underwater now on it. And so, like, I've told myself moving forward, I'm going to make an effort again, like a conscious effort to acquire stuff in physical as well. But, you know, when you're in the heat of the moment, you just want to get that game. You know?
Definitely my boomer thought that the younglings will never get to experience was just those midnight launches, man.
Oh, yeah.
Game comes out at midnight, and you know how they say just like when you have a hard day at work or something, or when you have to work for something, the reward feels better.
Right.
Like you work a hard day and then you have a meal, and it's just like, oh my god, that was so good. It's like, dude, getting a midnight launch and like getting the game in your hand and then just like ripping it open. That whole process, man, it's magical. It just made it feel more like an event, you know. Now you just like go online. I mean, push button like.
I think that's why that's a good point though. That's why that slope became so slippery though, because that was so satisfying. But then, you know, when manuals disappeared, when inserts disappeared, all these things disappeared from the physical versions, that even the magic of having that physical version kind of got lost a while ago, like a couple generations ago. So.
And then I remember too, the big turning point was when digital games started releasing at 9 p.m. Pacific instead of midnight launches.
That's when they got me.
Right.
So it was like, I can get it earlier. I can have it ready to go right at 9.
Preloading.
Installed.
Yep.
That was a big turning point.
Yeah. Crazy.
But I still make a big effort to, like, if it is a game I love, especially like limited run type of thing, it's so rad to get that. Put that on your shelf.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
That's one of my other weird, like, because you talk about, like, well, the collector's edition doesn't have the game in it, but it's like, some of these games, it's like, why do you have a collector's edition? Nobody's like a new franchise.
Oh, a brand new game.
I was like, I'm not going to spend like $100 on this thing that I don't know if I like yet. You know,
it's so funny.
But then it's like, well, then I have to buy it with the game that I already have. Like,
it's very fun.
But that's essentially the limited run model there. You know, it's like, okay, we'll get a special version of the game because you like it so much.
Yeah. Let's play a game. From Kristen G. Rosario. Hey there, allies. It's WrestleMania weekend, baby. Yeah, it is Saturday and Sunday. WrestleMania. I got all of my money on Gunther retaining. Sorry about it. He's retaining. Also, Cody Rhodes is winning. That one's easy. That one's a lock. There's no way John Cena wins. Never say never, though. Maybe. Do we think Cena's going to win? I don't know.
I'm not clued in at all. I recognize the names.
I will say my most anticipated is Penta. Let's go. That is the match I want to see the most. This year, I will be going to Sin City for WrestleMania 41 with my brother and some friends to have a good time watching the grapples and maybe hit a casino. No promises, Huber. Living the dream. Shout out. Living the fucking dream. Enjoy it. Enjoy every second of it. Take a lot of knees. Seriously. With that being said, I picked out 8 different WrestleMania events, with each pay-per-view having 4 different titles.
Okay.
From those titles, I need you to tell me what was the best-selling game for the month that WrestleMania aired. Note, it got to a point where I was unable to find units sold numbers for some of the years I chose. So, okay, wait. Okay. Let me make sure I have this correct. So, 8 different WrestleMania events with each pay-per-view having 4 different titles. From those titles, I need you to tell me what the best-selling game is. Okay. So the first one is WrestleMania 10. That was March 20th, 1994.
Okay.
And it featured Brett versus Owen and an Intercontinental title ladder match between Razor Ramon and HBK. So what is the best-selling game in March of 1994? Would you like the
Okay.
list of games to choose from, or do you have a guess right now?
Definitely list.
Definitely list.
Yes.
I got some ideas, but
Okay.
not for sure what March. No.
The list is Sonic 3, Mortal Kombat, Aladdin, or NBA Jam.
Ooh.
Mortal Kombat?
I'll go Sonic 3. I think, wasn't Mortal Kombat already out for a little bit?
They say it's Mortal Kombat on Genesis specifically.
On Genesis.
Sonic 3 Genesis, Mortal Kombat Genesis, Aladdin SNES, NBA Jam Genesis.
I'm going to NBA Jam.
I'll go Sonic.
And Dominic
Stick
goes
with
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Gabby, yell something.
Sonic.
Did you hear that?
NBA Jam!
Yes. Because I figured Mortal Kombat big, but also
Yeah.
parent limited.
Dude, when was the fucking last one? 2010, dude?
Oh, NBA Jam, the remake.
Latest release, NBA Jam on Fire Edition, October 2011. Dude,
Oh.
we need it.
That's
Yeah,
more
we do.
recent than I thought.
Yeah, that is actually. Before
Dragon Drive
15
shows us
years
that we
ago.
need a new
Yeah.
NBA Jam.
there was the 2010 and the 2011 like on Fire Edition, so it was 2010 technically, and then before that was 2003, Don. So there was a big gap, and then we haven't had anything since.
Yep.
Crazy. It's on fire.
They re-released them. The Arcade 1-Up company, did those replicate
Right. Yep.
releases. Those are pretty sweet. Yeah.
He's heating up. So good.
Classic, dude. Going into an arcade, hearing that echo through the chamber.
Iconic,
So good,
dude.
dude.
WrestleMania 15, March 28th, 1999. One of the best manias of all time. Featured the first WrestleMania singles match between Stone Cold and The Rock. 10 out of 10. All right. Mario Party, N64. Siphon Filter, PS1. Silent Hill, PS1. Or a small little game called Ocarina of Time.
And what year? What was the month?
They
1999 March.
So they're selling. So in that month.
Yes,
Okay. Crazy.
Yeah, this is it's such a hard game.
it is.
Yeah. I'll go with Zelda, just, even though it's a few months after.
I'm going Mario Party.
Good man. Don?
I'll just go. I'm trying to think. What was the other choice?
Siphon Filter.
Okay, I'll go Siphon Filter. I don't know.
Dude, it's Siphon Filter.
Really?
I was just guessing. what
Yeah.
other
The,
people would
the
guess.
difficulty is I don't know when Mario Party came out. Like
Yeah.
with Zelda, I know Zelda was out several months earlier.
Yeah,
so.
it's
Mario
almost
Party, 246,000 units. Siphon Filter, 252,000. Barely. I think it all had to do with the demo disc.
Oh,
Yeah.
good call.
There was the
Huber.
Everyone
That's
was just, I
right.
gotta get
Well,
this.
that's the other thing too. is PlayStation is a higher user base. So, that was the tricky thing I was trying to
Got it.
figure out. It's like, okay, Siphon Filter is less popular, but much more PlayStations. So yeah,
WrestleMania 24, March 2008. This featured Ric Flair's retirement match against Shawn Michaels. We got Army of Two. We have the Wii Play with Remote.
oh gosh,
We have Rainbow Six Vegas 2. Shout out. And Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
Brawl.
This
What
is March.
Wait, what March of 2008?
8. March 08.
If only we had the release dates of these games.
Yeah, because We
Okay.
Play was way back in
Super
2006.
Oh, it
Smash
was?
Brothers Brawl had just come. No, was it 2007, 2008 Brawl?
I have no
I
idea.
thought it was 2008, but I might be wrong.
we
Because
like,
We Play is huge.
I'm gonna go with We Play, man.
Yeah,
We
We Play was huge.
Play-
That thing is ridiculous because it was basically you were
Yeah.
buying a Wii remote
free
and getting
controller,
a game with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Brawl, if this was the first month of Brawl.
If it was launch month or close, it would be huge. But
Because
We
I thought it
Play
was
always
March
dominated.
for Brawl and in April for Mario Kart. in
I'll say
2008?
Brawl because I think
I'll
even
go
if it's within a
Brawl.
year of Brawl, it would probably do better. But who knows?
I'll try Brawl.
It's Brawl by a huge margin.
Nice.
4 times more than the next.
That's been its
2,700,000 units sold. We play a distressingly little amount of Smash at Easy Allies, and it upsets me all the time. What the hell? More Smash, please. We should be playing Smash and GoldenEye before every stream.
Let's do a full playthrough of the Subspace Emissary.
Hell yeah. WrestleMania 25, April 2009. Featured one of the best WrestleMania Undertaker matches ever as he took on Shawn Michaels. Absolute legendary match. We've got Halo Wars. We've got Pokemon Platinum version. We have Resident Evil 5 on PS3. And we have Resident Evil 5 on Xbox 360.
Resident Evil 5 Xbox 360. Let's go.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning.
I'll do the same.
Correct. Yep. Resident Evil 5. Brad and I beat that shit in one day, dude. Launch day, full playthrough. We stopped for dinner, and that's it. We played till like 4 a.m.
So rad.
Fucking sick. One of my favorite gaming memories of all time. By the time, dude, Brad never bounced so fast in his life. There was no discussion. We hit the credits. He's like, all right, I'm going to sleep. Signed off. So funny. All right, WrestleMania XXX 30. April 2014. This featured Daniel Bryan winning the world title in the main event. One of my favorite Bryan matches ever. We've got Titanfall, Minecraft for Xbox 360, NBA 2K14, and Call of Duty Ghosts.
Oh my gosh.
April 2014. I know this is crazy.
Oh my
a Titanfall, a
gosh.
Minecraft, a Call of Duty, and an NBA. Holy
It's
moly.
not Titanfall.
Well, NBA would have been way into the season by then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right? They
It's
wouldn't
like
have
the
released
end of the season. You're like the last months.
Okay.
Call of Duty had come out
What's
like
the month?
November.
April 2014.
Hey, Minecraft's huge, but was it that big on Xbox 360, I guess?
I mean, it was, but the
that
timing
point.
of everything else.
Yeah. I'll go Minecraft, even though I don't think it's right.
I'll go Minecraft.
I'm gonna do Call of Duty.
Titanfall.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have numbers for this one, unfortunately, so we can't see, but it is
okay.
Titanfall.
Okay.
Yeah. Titanfall, dude. So fun. Did they ever add Titans to Apex Legends? Did that ever happen? What the fuck?
At least not on a permanent basis. I don't know if
Dude.
how much they've like done it things in events, but that's Alexander can tell us.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Alexander,
help us out.
Tell us how much Titanfall we've gotten in
And
Apex.
Alexander, do you want the Titans in Apex? Like, maybe people don't want it. WrestleMania 33, April 2017, featured the return of the Hardys, one of the loudest pops in pro wrestling history. I was in Grumbaum's garage, dude. We lost our minds.
Oh, I know why we lost the numbers, because the MPD changed. Yeah.
This was also Kristen's first WrestleMania live. So you've been to WrestleMania before? Living the fucking dream. Nice. Okay, April 2017. We got some heavy hitters. We got MLB 17, Persona 5, Breath of the Wild, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
April 17?
April 17.
I'm going with Breath of the Wild.
I'll go Mario Kart.
What was the other? The first
MLB, Persona, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart.
I'm gonna go MLB.
Dude, why would you ever vote against GTA or Mario Kart? It's obviously Mario Kart.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was just, it was Switch
Obviously
launch.
Mario Kart.
Yeah, obviously Mario Kart.
Obviously.
Of course.
Obviously.
I would never bet against it. All right, we got two more. WrestleMania 37. This is April 2021. First in-person pay-per-view event for WWE since the pandemic started. That was a big one. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, MLB The Show 21, new Pokemon Snap, and Outriders. Shout out Outriders. You were so fun. Outriders, you were fun.
What month?
This is April 2021.
MLB The Show again.
Never been against Mario Kart.
MLB.
Don? Call of Duty, MLB, Pokemon, Outriders.
Pokemon.
It is MLB.
Dang it.
And the finale. Oh, man. I know, like sports games, dude, it's so crazy. They're just so consistent. They just always sell, you know?
Yeah.
It's wild. Did you see, quick pause, did you see the facial scanning of MLB The Show when I
put
streamed?
you on the thumbnail.
Yeah, dude, it is insane. I want to put all the allies in MLB The Show. So hyped on that. Holy crap.
It's funny because like I missed the actual moment when you did it.
Yeah.
Because I saw that like you were getting things set up and I saw a thing about face scanning.
It's so
and then I
intense.
came back to the stream later and it was like, that just looks like you.
Yeah, I
and then I
know.
remembered there was a face scan thing. It's like, oh, that's how they ended up. Okay.
Yeah, it's really well done. I am shocked how
Yeah.
good it looks. It is crazy. And finally, last year, WrestleMania XL April 2024 featured Cody Rhodes finally finishing his story and gaining the WWE Championship. We've got Stellar Blade Shout Out. Stellar Blade, God, I love that game. Sea of Thieves, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and Helldivers 2.
Helldivers.
This is April 2024.
That's Helldivers.
Yeah, Helldivers. Because Call of Duty was the fall, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's still, it holds its own for a while, but
Helldivers
yeah.
was hot, though.
Helldivers?
Stellar Blade, bro. Yeah.
Never bet against Stellar Blade.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Love that game. Thanks so much. Also, quick shout out to the wrestling section of the EZA Discord, as they are an amazing bunch of people who a few of them have gotten to meet in person over the past couple of years. Fingers crossed as I look to regain my predictions title back at the grandest stage of them all. Awesome. So sick. So hyped for Penta, dude. That match. I'm hyped on it. No Kevin Owens, though. That's brutal. No Kevin Owens, blood. What are we going to do about it?
I don't know. What would you do?
The show is like, it can't be an A+ because Kevin Owens is not involved. Yeah. He's my favorite. All right. By the way, before we get to this week's bets, Easy Allies patrons are getting 2. Utah, get me 2 bonus love and respect questions, including how we'd want to improve the Easy Allies Game of the Year, Returnal. So if you want to get in on that extended cut, become a $5 patron at patreon.com/easyallies. You'll also get an ad-free version of this podcast, so key, and 2 days early. You can submit questions to love and respect. Don't be shy about it. If you're in there, submit. We love questions. We'll answer just about anything you ask. And you get into the official Discord where you can make wrestling friends like Kristen. And if you really want to help us out, you can join one of our producer tiers, our platinum producers. Get a shout out on this podcast each and every week. This month's shout outs go to Jabboabs and Elthanis. Shout out. Now come join us on Patreon for those bonus questions. That's patreon.com/easyallies. It's time for bets.
And I do have eyeless. Let me get to it.
I need some points.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a dangerous place to be. Don can probably attest to this. You never, ever want to walk into a casino needing to make money. Dangerous game you're playing. Dangerous.
Well, probably one of the worst feelings on earth, actually.
Going into casino, I need to win. I need to make money. It's like, dude.
That's like that's like basically me every single time I've gone to Vegas on the last morning before I drive home. I'm like frantically looking for a win. Up. Just desperate for a win. Make back some of this.
Damiani submitted a bet this week.
Yeah, Damiani. This is a bet from Damiani. Easter is this Sunday for all who celebrate. So how many eggs will be in Nintendo's Twitter feed between now and this time next week? Screenshots, videos, emojis. If there is an egg on the official Nintendo Twitter account, it counts. The arrogant child, Damiani.
I'm going with one.
One.
That's all they can afford.
It's hilarious. He comes up with this bet, and he's like, no, they're not going to do it.
The wicked worm, Daniel Bloodworth.
I went with 3.
Whimsical scum, Isla.
Isla is 4.
Punish Castellanos, Don.
I also went with 3 eggs.
Strange Valentine, I'm nervous.
5.
Okay, sick. Me and you, Gabby, let's go. 5 eggs. Come on, Gabby, we got this. We have got this. 5 or more. 5 or more. That's expensive, Damiani. 5 eggs? Shit.
Yeah.
That's pricey.
We just need some
almost a
Yoshi's
Switch
Island
2.
footage, and we're good.
It's like a Switch 2 game.
Last week's bet. Mandragora. Whispers of the Witch Tree came out today. Check it out. I'm really loving it. Cozy. Last week, Bloodworth asked, how many seconds of the launch trailer would include a hammer on screen? This is some fucking bullshit, by the way. I don't
read it out live. Don't spoil yourself before you.
I'm fighting this. Okay, so Shuei, honestly, we're going to the fucking council. I'm telling you right now. This is a council bet, chat.
Yeah, I may have a bone to pick with this bet too.
This is unacceptable. Yeah. So Shuei, playing for Damiani, said 3 seconds. Damiani said 1 second. Bloodworth said 14 seconds. Isla said 6 seconds. Don said 8 seconds. Gabby said 30 seconds. I said 6 seconds. Play the clip.
There's a hammer. There's a hammer. And there's a hammer. Mm-hmm. That's all the hammers we got.
So the answer is 7 seconds, and you little cheeky Bloodworth say 7 seconds and 29 frames.
Yeah, because I got this frame by frame in Premiere.
Giving the winning bet to just Don, not Don, Isla, and myself, who are all 1 second away evenly. This is unacceptable. I refuse.
I actually think that part makes sense. Doesn't it? Wait, are you exactly?
It's over 7 seconds.
You have 8. Isla and I have 6, and the answer is 7.
Oh yeah, so then I'm closer because that's like 7.5 seconds. I mean, that's like saying 7.5.
29
that's like,
frames.
You're 6. You're at 6, Huber. So you're 1.5 seconds away. I'm only half a second away. I mean, we got to count frames when everyone's doing 6, 7, 8, 9. You know whatever.
How many frame? Dude, there's 60 frames per second. So technically, it'd be.
Doesn't matter if it's only
less.
29.97. Then I'm even closer. Then it's like 8 exactly. It's either 30 frames or 60 frames, and so if let's say it's 30, then I'm half.
Either way, it's over 7.
Yeah, it makes sense actually. Blood's math. I had a bone to pick with something else.
No way, dude. I refuse, dude. I refuse this.
Blood.
I refuse.
I need someone at math to know if this is correct, because I could be wrong too.
I refuse, but I will accept what our patrons decide on this. I am calling on the patrons, an impartial judge system here, because this does not sit right with me personally. So
Okay, well, I posted on Patreon.
Yeah,
I'll put a question.
Thank you. thank you. I am not accepting this right now until the patrons themselves have signed off on this. If they say, hey, it's Dawn all the way, I'll accept it. 100%, no complaints, no problem whatsoever. But I don't know.
I mean, when you have people guessing only a second apart, how else are you gonna? That's the way it works. It's like 6.5 seconds. Frames is the same as milliseconds. I mean, it's.
But I will say, just in the past, it has always been precedent. It had always been, someone says 10 seconds, someone says 8 seconds. The answer was 9. Both people would get a point.
Even still, so Scuzz Benson in his chat is saying if both are the flat number, 8 would be closer to anything over 7 seconds. Yeah, so it's the same thing, basically. You know what I'm saying? Forget the number of frames. As long as it's anything over 7 seconds, unless it's exactly 7 seconds, then it would be.
But if we're playing Price is Right rules, you went over, bro. You busted.
When
Isla and I technically are closer because 6 to 7 in my mind is closer than 8 to 7. You're going backwards. You're going down. You went over. We're right there.
If chat, you know what? I'll accept not winning this.
I mean, the thing is, the only difference would be all three of you would get 1 point.
Exactly. That's
There's nothing where Don would not get a point. No
matter what, a minimum. Yeah, you get a point no matter what, Don. I'm arguing that Isla and myself should also get a point. But again,
I'm okay with that.
The patrons. It's up to you. That's why this is fun. That's why we love the patrons. Because it's up to you now. You are in control. No fate but what you make, patrons. Yes.
How about this? You have to give the final word and the last one.
Oh yeah, Don doesn't want to do the final word, so you get the
I get a point. I get a point, but you get to see the final.
All right, so we will have the final up-to-the-date scores next time after the patrons weigh in.
Well, right now I'm still saying it stands that Don has 6 points.
Okay.
If they overturn it, then okay, sure.
Well, Don gets a point no matter what, yeah, so Don will be at 6 regardless. Mm-hmm. It's just if Isla and myself
This is controversial. Let me ask, in that clip, were any enemies holding the hammer blood, or was it only the main character?
It was only the main character, but we had said specifically a hammer on screen. So a menu, enemy, any of that stuff.
Way, so I would have been nervous if that was
there ended up being a lot of maces in that trailer.
Yeah, maces are big in that game.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, I was doing a lot of frame by frame because like some of the shots were like really quick. They were like 1 second shots and like what the heck is even swinging right now? I'm like, okay. That's an axe, not a hammer.
All right. Well, bringing the tentative scores to Punish Castellanos with 6.
Dispatch. This is Detective Castellanos. Send in an airstrike. I got a Wicked Worm.
Wicked Worm barely on the heels of Castellanos with 3. And then Isla, myself, Damiani with 1, Gabby with 0. Crazy. Well done, Don. Nice, comfortable lead in April.
You as well. Hey, that was an exciting one. A couple seconds apart, and it happened to come in right between it. Dude.
Yeah, so it is kind of wild.
It's so intense.
It's so insane.
That's why we're going to the patrons.
I can't believe.
The councils.
That's why I like. That's why I like doing the. I like doing the stuff. What's in the video, man? It's crazy what comes up. How many steps? Well, remember what was it? The steps I counted in the Crow game. What was the Crow game?
Oh God.
Death's Door.
Death's Door.
I counted the steps between the beginning of the game and a boss or something like that. Yeah.
Dude, where is Death's Door 2? 2 years ago, do you think we will get a sequel? I hope so.
I think the team will make something, but yeah, I don't know 100% if we'll get a sequel.
Love that game. All right. Don got to go to the Switch 2 event in Los Angeles, and we put up a separate video about everything he played. So be sure to check that out if you missed it. Some hands-on Switch 2 reporting from Don himself. We also put up a preview of Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Mm-hmm. Ninja Gaiden is fully back. The new side-scrolling game coming from the makers of 10 out of 10 Blasphemous 1 and 2. Love Blasphemous, both of them so much. And we just shot a new interview with Machine Games for Indiana Jones, so be on the lookout for that one. That was a fun one. All right. To you, Punish Castellanos, you get to shout out to anyone that's on your mind this week. You get the final word, and you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
Okay, quick shout out to Tetris, that Henk Rogers interview. Nice work, Bloodworth. That was
Thank
sick
you.
as hell. Shout out to Henk Rogers and Tetris, I guess. Who would have known if we all would have gotten to enjoy it in the same level of availability if it wasn't for Hank's globetrotting efforts.
So right.
My favorite memory, my earliest memory of Tetris as a little kid with the Game Boy, obviously, right? And my neighbor's parents, my best friend across the street, Hal, would be forced to go outside so that we weren't playing games every second of the day. So we'd go outside, and our outside time would consist of sitting on the curb in the street and playing Tetris on the Game Boy for hours. It was
and that
so
you know,
good.
one of those details that like I just didn't know was that like he was the one that came up with the idea for getting points for like doubles, triples, and Tetris. Like getting a Tetris
Literal game changer.
was Hank's
that
contribution.
sound
It's
effect.
crazy.
That's huge.
It's just like, you know, and now I've played the original version and I understand how the scoring difference was there, but it's wild.
That is
It's wild to
cool.
think of Tetris without getting a Tetris.
Yeah.
I want to know who came up with that bugged out sound effect for the Game Boy, this Tetris. Oh,
yeah.
You know, that thing?
That's
that was so
insane.
awesome.
Oh, yeah, that was I was on Nintendo's side.
That was
So
the best.
whoever was doing the music.
Sick.
Yeah.
And final word, Stern, look, you got to get us one of these King Kong tables, ship one of these suckers over to Easy Ally Studios. You know we'll do you right. We did you right with Jaws. Anybody see the Jaws Blood and Chum video? If you haven't seen Jaws Blood and Chum, check it out.
That one is still by bar right by my house, Don. I still play Jaws every once in a while. It's
Nice.
right
Table.
there. Such a good one.
Yeah, ship us one of these King Kong tables, Stern. That would be awesome. We'll make some good stuff. Until next time, everyone, sayonara, essays.
You go on the dark web not to hire a hitman, but to play 1.0 Final Fantasy.
That's where you're going, man.